A bad artist blames their tools. What does that mean?
Oof, that's a loaded question. I think a person that acts like they don't have everything that they need in the moment, can what is it? Something with an Indian and an arrow, a poor shot, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
I think that somebody that doesn't have all of the tools that they need in the moment might blame the tools in the end. Um, so I think like for my purposes, not to get all whatever back into stuff that I do, but I think like if I'm like, oh, this interview could have been better, right? I'll blame the interview. But it's like, what questions did you ask?
Yeah.
What are the things that you put in effort wise to make that interview what it needed to be? So I think like in a sense, I think that answers the question, right? Like I think if you're not prepared, then you can't blame the end product.
Yeah.
Um,
So speaking of interviews, I
yeah,
was watching one of your old ones
yeah,
and you mentioned that was a big quote
yeah,
that came up at work.
yeah,
And it was like a big realization of like, it doesn't matter if you have a really cheap camera,
yep,
as long as like your composition, your lighting, and everything else up to par. You
absolutely,
can't just blame the tools at hand. Right.
absolutely, yeah.
So,
Making use of what you do have too, because I think like especially in this space, I mean we were talking before, right? Like
yeah.
if you start out and you're not putting your all into it, you're not going to get that end product, and then likely you're just going to give up. But like if you're putting your all into it at first, right, you're going to get a product that you're proud of, and then you're going to keep going, keep innovating, keep pushing forward. So
Yeah.
like that's huge, especially in this space.
So you have a pretty cool job.
Mhm.
Tell me the story how you became a senior producer for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, it's a long path. It's a weird path. I think I went to one of the cooler names of a college. I went to California University of Pennsylvania. It's no longer a school. They changed the school name a little bit, but since it was a really small school in Pennsylvania, it allowed me to kind of branch out into a bunch of different things. I did radio, I did in front of the camera, and I did newspaper. And going to that small school afforded me the ability to try things, try different things. I was in front of the camera and I was like, I don't love this. Like I'm not as driven in this as I would be in something else. So an internship popped up with the Pittsburgh Penguins while I was in school, and I worked with them for. It was after the glory years. It was after not glory, but after 16, 17 when they won the back to back cups. So I didn't get to see all that stuff, which would have been sick. But
Yeah.
that was my first, experience in professional sports. So, and then I turned that into an internship with the Bucs, and I've been with the Bucs since 2019, right before COVID, right before Tom Brady got there, all those things. So, kind of worked my way up and just stuck through it. Going into my seventh season, and again, we were talking about before. It's just like I'm learning new things every day, and I think that's kind of helped me get to the spot that I am now. Senior producer sounds cool, but it's just like basically you just do everything. You can do everything. The tools are sharpened enough where you can, kind of you've done everything in the past, so you can kind of just bounce around and do different stuff.
So we're filming this right before the season starts.
Yeah,
But by the time people see this, the season's already going to be going. So hopefully they're
yeah,
doing well and they're
absolutely.
listening right now.
Hey, fingers crossed.
So walk me through a couple different things.
Yeah.
First, walk through a day as a producer at the Bucks
Mhm.
during the season, but not on a game day. What are
Okay.
you doing on like a day to day?
Yeah. So in the past years, I hate the cliche like, oh, every day's different, but like it truly is. Monday, Tuesday, in the beginning of the week, are a lot of just kind of recapping the last game. So we'll get all of our footage, we'll ingest it all, we'll label it all, we'll do the shows that we have, podcasts talking about the last game or wherever we are in the season. If it's coming off a bye week, it's like, cool, how are we going to leverage that success later on to the season? But a lot of the beginning of the week is recaps. And then towards the end of the week, it's preparing. It's, doing the long form. I'm on a long form series this year. It's called In the Current. And it's new for me. It's not new for the Bucks, but it's new for me because this is the first time I'm actually able to, go from start to finish with a long form stuff. I did things in the past, but it was very small. So day to day, it's a lot of logging footage. We're doing press conferences, we're doing open locker rooms, we're doing, we're working on season long shows, something called Film Session, where we talk to Rondé Barber and he breaks down a play, 2 or 3 plays from the last game. There's a producer that works on that. So it's a lot of moving parts. And as much as I said I didn't want to say every day is different, but it truly is. It's just kind of, going with the flow, rolling with the punches too, because
Yeah.
this isn't working. We need to find out a new fix for this as the season kind of progresses. It's just kind of, changing things and trying to get better.
But you did explain there's kind of a pattern.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Once the first game happens, then you're doing the recap, preparing for the next game, so on and so forth. So,
Absolutely.
for game day, let's just use a home game,
Yeah.
for example. So you're just driving to work.
Mhm.
How early does your day start as a producer?
Yeah, it's that one. That one's tough because if it's a 1 o'clock game, we're getting there at like 6:30 in the morning to like pack up gear and stuff, and then we're getting over to the stadium 5 hours before the game, and we're setting everything up. All the players have to be in the locker room 2 hours before kickoff, before
Sure.
the game starts. So we're preparing for that. We're shooting them coming into the stadium, and then we're quick turning for like the live, like the big boards basically. So we'll just cut up. It's basically B-roll. It's just them walking in, looking all swaggy, whatever it is, their chains on and all that stuff. We'll cut and color that, and then they'll play it on the boards, and just like a easy segment, being like, "Oh, Bucs have arrived," type situation. But home games are more stress because there's more things you have to shoot.
More you're responsible for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if there's sponsors that are there, if there's they have a Women of Red tailgate, so there'll be like a tailgate out in the parking lot, and we'll have to shoot that. I say we, it's the most royal we because it's everybody's
the team.
responsibilities on a game is different, and we have a very small team, so a lot of the times it is kind of like a you're available, you're not shooting something at the moment. If you're not setting things up, then cool, be on that. But we usually have one producer that's floating, that is shooting those things. Now we have the ability to do that, so now we're trying to make sure that everything is covered. But yeah, it's weird. Home games are high stress. Away games are a lot less stress because it's just the game, to shoot the game.
All right, cool. We'll chat about both.
Yeah.
So on game day, you broke that down a little bit.
Mhm.
Explain having viewpoints from the stands or being on field. Because I know you've kind of been experimenting.
Yeah.
I learned about the Guy Fieri chain.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
That might have been a
Absolutely.
season or two ago.
That was a deep
So
cut. That was a deep cut.
I did a lot of research.
I had to think about that. I was like, dang.
Yeah, and the flavor cam is what you called it last time. So
Absolutely.
explain what those are, why that's important, and like why that's kind of unique.
Yeah, I think in this space, everybody's trying to innovate. Everybody's trying to get. We've seen all the same shots. We've seen the field shots. We've seen the quarterback winding up and throwing the ball deep. But it's also capturing all of the experience. And I think for fans, they want to see themselves in the stadium. If they're not at the game, they want to see the game from their viewpoint. Not all the time, but sometimes, right?
Yeah.
And I think that this camera, it's the flavor cam. Now it's just like the roving camera. We kind of switched that name around. It never really stuck. I said it, on that last podcast. I said it. Yeah. I said it with that. That was its moment. That was its time to shine right there. But now that camera is just kind of roving. We have a camera up in the big board, basically, in the video boards that will shoot down, and it'll be a really cool kind of Atlanta Falcons-esque. If you've seen that,
Aerial
that's
view.
like a motion tracking shot. So we try to have our little spin on things, and we did that. I think the first time last year, the first time 2 years ago. We're constantly trying to get different stuff, and I think NFL Films does a really good job of that. And we are trying our best to get to a spot where, when you come to a Bucs game and you see that experience live, but if you're home, if you're in Germany, where our second market, whatever it is, if you can see that and feel that passion, feel that emotion through video, that's what we're trying to capture. And I think that, again, is something that teams do different. The Vikings do a really good job of it. The Falcons do a good job of it. Chiefs, all these big teams, they're able to do that. And that's what we're trying to do.
Also depends if they have a roof.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking, we always see the aerial view watching the TV.
Yeah.
But those are all strung up with cables. Because
Yeah.
you can't risk a drone dying and falling on the field.
Yeah.
Or being too low and getting hit by a punt or whatever else.
Yeah.
So I was trying to think of like cool ways of what you could be doing with like drones and stuff, but it's too big of a risk.
Yeah. And I think we're really close to an airport too, our stadium. So like drones are, I don't know if do you have a drone?
No, I don't.
It's like you can't take off.
You need FAA clearance and licenses, and it's a lot.
And it's a completely different, it's basically an aircraft where they're like, no, you don't have, and it's really weird too, because, our stadium, we're like, cool, we can, have a drone in the stadium, but it's like, I mean, obviously you can't go above a certain altitude, but it's like you're flying in the stadium. Nothing a plane can't come in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But in theory, like it is an aircraft.
But
So,
then you run the risk that it can't get higher than the stadium, so you could actually hit people
yeah,
that are still seated.
yeah,
But those are things I was thinking about, like what would be a cool angle.
yeah,
But I'm like, that one's kind of off the board.
yeah.
But like
The video board's different.
Tropicana Field
Yep.
down the road, currently it's topless. But they could have used the catwalk
Yeah.
beforehand.
Yeah. They have a small crew too. I think their video team is smaller. I think it's about it. Honestly, it might be the same size as ours.
What number is that? Describe
We
for
have
us.
5, I think 5 full-time producers. And then my boss as well. He also shoots. Small team.
That's
It's
very small.
It sounds in theory, if somebody from the outside might be like, oh yeah, it's a decent sized team, but it's like there's some teams that have, and we're doing all of the video stuff. So that's corporate partnership videos, that's social stuff, that's game coverage, that's everything. So a lot of teams might have social producers and social video people, all those different things. But we're a very small team. It's a cool badge of honor though. It's we wear it proudly. It's a small team that we can do a bunch. But
You get a lot of experience really quickly.
yeah,
too.
yeah, and similar to college, like you have to dip your toe into a bunch of different things.
Yeah.
Cool. We don't have somebody that can shoot press that day. We have 4 or 5 other people that can shoot press
That are capable.
that are able to do it. And that's a very simple thing of like shooting press, videos, doing all those things. It's simple, but it helps.
Yeah.
It helps for sure.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So you explained game day. There's a lot of moving parts.
Mhm.
Do you guys have like a site of like, okay, this is where like a stash of lenses are,
Mhm.
or you just running gunning one setup the whole
Pretty much run and gun.
whole time?
Yeah, pretty much run and gun. It's a lot of the stuff that we do. If you're changing batteries, that's one thing.
Yeah.
We use a bunch of different lenses. So we have a servo lens that can shoot like a 24 to 300. And that's like that's our new baby. So it's awesome. I say new, we've had it for, almost a year. Well, yeah, over a year and a half. We just got a shiny toy, 50 to 1,000. So I know it's crazy. So that'll be our mic'd up camera. So you're not changing that lens. You're not changing the 24 to 300. You have that good range. And then we have a few cameras that are around, like a FX3 on a Ronin, just like a camera stabilizer. And that camera will relatively keep the same lens. So we're not really changing stuff other than batteries in the moment. And that allows us our batteries are decent. We just got new batteries. So we're not changing stuff I went through like 3 batteries, I think, the last game. It's like a 4.5 hour game.
And you're filming
it's
constantly.
Yeah, exactly. And so we try not to change it too much, but if we're changing batteries, it's fine. But if you're sitting there, you're missing a play because you're trying to switch a lens, that's a different story. But
So the listener will learn, I love cameras. We were talking about this beforehand, before filming. Explain just a little bit to the people listening. They might not realize, is that a big number? You know what I mean? What's a 20? What's 1,000?
Mhm.
So explain a little bit like what these zooms can do.
yeah, so they're all in millimeters, like the focal length. So 24 can get you, pretty close. The 300, the max, if I'm shooting from the 10-yard line, I can shoot pretty close at like the 30 or 40-yard line. Anywhere past that, I kind of have to run around because we can't shoot. We're limited to the 30s, basically. So there's a block that's basically the bench. So we can't shoot on the sideline of like the bench area because the coaches are there. We have a limit of how many people are allowed team side in the bench area. So if there's NFL personnel, there's the people that are holding like that like
Pylons.
looking like microphone looking thing. There's refs, there's, all those people. So we have to bounce around to the other side. The sideline is not empty. So we're, if you're shooting something and then all of a sudden there's a stoppage and you're like, oh, I can move. And then you just sprint, but you're sprinting with like a 30-pound camera ish. Doesn't sound like a lot to you. Obviously you got that. You got that.
Yeah.
But like I'm slugging this thing behind me. I'm running and there's, 70,000 people. So it's like, you're not trying to drop the camera. Like there's all these things that are popping in your head. But yeah, so the lenses are cool. This 50 to 1,000, you're in one spot though. Like have you been to Raymond James?
Yeah.
So where the pirate ship is.
Mhm.
So it sucks on game day because those cannons, they're right next to you. So we have these drummer headphones that we'll put on, Vic Firth or whatever. So we'll put those on. And then if you're shooting the sideline, you're just on one person the whole time. So it gets loud, but the best part is like we haven't used it yet. This first game is the first game that we're going to use it. And we were shooting on like I think a max was a 250 or a 300. So like you were shooting in 4K. So like we can punch in, but with this 50 to 1,000, we're fine. Like you're getting like this far away and you're down the street.
Hundreds of feet away.
You're down the street.
Yeah, you're 500 feet away and it looks like you're standing there.
You're at this table. That's what it looks like. Yeah.
Very
really
cool.
Sweet, though. Yeah.
Very neat. So one of my best friends, his family built the pirate ship.
Really?
In Raymond James.
Was that a Disney company?
No, Duckworth Steel Boats. They were in Tarpon.
Okay.
They recently changed hands. They may have closed recently.
Wow.
But yeah, they built that back.
That's so sick.
Pretty
that
dope.
boat is so if you've been there, you've seen.
You've never been on it, but yeah, I've definitely seen it.
It's so sick. Yeah. And like game day, they have like that little parrot that's in the back. If like you're walking past, it'll like chirp at you, basically, like say stuff to you.
Super neat. So it was a real boat.
Yeah,
obviously it was made for this purpose, but like it was like a real boat.
That's so sick.
Cool fun fact.
Yeah, I know inside the stadium they have Disney or somebody designed like like those area where it kind of looks like houses.
Yeah, I don't know who they paid for like the renderings and stuff.
Yeah,
pretty cool.
I've heard that it's Disney. I don't know. I have no idea though. But
pretty neat. So, would you describe each game as like a unique story in the greater scheme of a season?
Yeah, that's one way.
Would you describe it that way?
Yeah, absolutely. I think a little philosophical. I think that's absolutely there's truth to that. In a season, you think about your life as a human, right? Your 1 week is different than the next week. But if you get hurt 1 week, that week is going to be different than the next week. And I think that's true for, our players. They're human beings, right? Something can happen in their lives and 1 week is different than the next. And I think that in the grand scheme of a season, that's 18 weeks, a lot changes from week 1 to week 18. I said it's philosophical, but at the same time too, it is that's the way to describe it. If you're on a 3-game losing streak and it's like a redemption arc, and you're in week 4 and you're like, this is our time. Like this is your Super Bowl. I would explain every week as like a Super Bowl with a lot of other sports. You mentioned the Rays earlier, 162 games, right? Like what's different from one Tuesday game to a Thursday game in, October. I mean, I guess October is different. If you're talking about like a game in July and August, like whatever it is. Yeah. But I think in football, it's such a focus on 1 week to the next, where you're like, this is a big game. Like you have to get up for this game, or, you're losing ground in the divisional race, whatever it is, you have to keep going. And I think that's where that's a true. I mean, it's a true statement, being like every game is, in a grand scheme in the storyline.
I was thinking of the game and what your job is, because I did a lot of research on what you do, and it's super fascinating. I've loved it. So I was trying to think of what I would do, because I'm trying to think about all the ways you're being creative and the challenges that come up and how do you be different, because I learned about what you talked about with Atlanta and traveling and try to have a different perspective. Yeah. So I was thinking if each game was a unique story in the greater scheme of like, the recap of the season. Yeah. You kind of have characters where this guy's the veteran, this guy's the rookie, this guy's coming off the injury. This guy got called up, this guy got dropped, or, vice versa. Absolutely. And then you kind of build these people up throughout the season of, the kicker's on a hot streak. Hasn't missed one yet, knock on wood. Yep. But yeah, I was thinking of how to get the fan more involved, how you establish that loyalty and that passion.
Yeah, and that's what we try to do every day, right? Like, why should people care about the Bucs? It's like, cool, Mike Evans, X, Y, and Z, right? Oh, Baker Mayfield, X, Y, and Z. Like, those are big people, but it's also like, why should you care about the second string linebacker that has a passion for painting, and he painted his own shoes for My Cause, My Cleats. And it's like, why did he choose that? Why is this cause important? All of those things goes into developing those characters, as you said. And I think, again, I said it was philosophical, but it's also like, that is the reality of it. Fandom in general, like how to develop, devout fans, or how to develop, the avids from the casuals. And I'm using very marketer heavy words, whatever, when I'm saying like the avid and casual, but it's like the people that are snowbirds and just come down for a little bit of the year. Why should those people care about the Bucs when a person living in Tampa and has been a fan for all 50 seasons of the Bucs? Why should those people be different? How we treat them, right? How we portray the Bucs. Why is their story different than somebody else that's casual? It's like, how do we develop that? And I think that's the challenge that I'm facing with this long form stuff. It's tough.
Cool. But we'll dive into that in just a bit. Yeah. So What's a film angle that you were excited to try to use, like a new one, but it
Mhm.
just kind of didn't pan out?
Um, an angle, like a framing of a shot?
Yeah, or just like, I mean, I thought a drone would be sick, and I
Yeah,
quickly realized I'm like, you can't even do that. So I mean,
yeah,
that was shot down quick. But was there
yeah,
something that you're like, oh, let's go up to this level
yeah,
and shoot down, and
yeah,
you kind of get like a bird's eye, and then it
yeah.
kind of like didn't work out?
Yeah, that happens, quite a bit, a lot more so with interviews.
Okay,
Like I see, there was a team in St. Louis, it's a soccer team, and it's slipping my brain. It might be a USL team. I'm not entirely sure, but it was a really cool angle. They had basically like 90 degrees to the person, and it was pointing straight down, and it was kind of like just getting this part and like just focusing on this. They had one angle that was sick, and then they had like a fisheye of a person like kind of crossing their legs, and it was trying to highlight their shoes and like trying to highlight all those things. I'm a big, I like shoes a lot. I'm
cool.
passionate about shoes and like that space. Um, but they put a fisheye lens like right by their shoes, and it was so sick. And I was like, how do we get that? I didn't try that shot. I tried like a high angle shot, and I was just like, it just it doesn't look good. Like I
Yeah,
don't know how they did that.
but you tried it.
I tried it, yeah,
Yeah.
and I think a lot of the time early on in my career, I was just like, yeah, like I'm gonna try different things, and like didn't work. And I think I lost a little bit of that. Oh, I'm going to try this. I'm going to try that. And just doing what I know works. And that's a slippery slope too. Cause then you're not innovating. You're not doing different stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
predictable.
yeah. Yeah. But I think the teams that try different things, new things, get the eyes and they get the publicity. Cause it's like, I've never seen that before.
Yeah,
The Falcons example was the motion track. It's like, it's there every week. We see this shot we not necessarily see that shot, but we see a person running across the field. Oh, sick. Just motion track their helmet, make their helmet just be steady as they're running. People trying to tackle them, whatever it is. And it's so sick. It was so dope. Um, but just trying to innovate every time.
how often would you say you still experiment game to game?
Um, Game day stuff, very rarely. I wish I did a little bit more. I've been into a rhythm of shooting mic'd up and highlights. I haven't really been on the roving cam, the flavor cam too
Yeah,
much. I love the Guy Fieri reference. That was phenomenal.
yeah,
But yeah, so I haven't done that too much. And that's one where I think you can have a little bit more ability to, oh, cool, I'm going to sit with this fan. Something happens and you raise your camera up, almost like you're simulating like a fan cheering. Everybody else around you, it's like, cool, you high five, whatever it is. And I think those are the things that we're trying to connect with more so now. Like our vision behind trying to capture game day is trying to capture it from a fan's perspective. And like, it's different than just giving a fan a GoPro and being like, oh, film your day. Because if I don't know how to do whatever I'm doing.
did you see Cloverfield?
Yes.
That movie?
Okay. So I got motion sickness during that movie.
Yeah, I never finished it.
I couldn't.
I
I
didn't
watched it in
finish
the theaters.
Yeah, it's
I watched it
rough.
with my dad. I was like, "Dad, I
Yeah.
gotta get out of here."
So that's what would happen
Yeah.
if you just handed my grandmother
Yeah.
a 360 cam or something.
100%. No matter how much stabilization you use too.
No.
You're
It's
shocked.
rough.
Yeah.
So would you say that there's a message that the film team tries to produce each game? Whether, I mean, you kind of said it, like whether it's redemption
Mhm.
or elaborate what
Yeah.
you guys do each game.
I don't think so. I don't think we have a message that we capture necessarily in the stuff that we're doing. It's more of like excitement. It's capturing the thrill of, cheering for a touchdown or cheering for our team to do well. That's an interesting, I like that a lot. That message that I guess the question that you asked is a really cool message to think about as I'm on my journey of being like, cool, what am I going to capture game to game? Because a lot of it is documenting. And I think for our responsibility in this field, whatever it is documenting. Like it's our 50th season this year, right? I'm looking back at footage from 1976 and they're trying different things, right? They're doing like the crazy, like kind of, if you're shooting on an angle, almost like you're falling over and people are like running past you and it looks sick. It looks really cool. Or changing like a film exposure and doing different things where it's like a flash or different things in that world. And I think that stuff is awesome, but I'm going to use the clip of a wide shot of the stadium and it's pouring and water is flowing down the steps and all these fans are still there. Fans maybe don't have a shirt on. They're cheering the team on, right?
Painted up.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Like those shots I think are just as impactful as a cool shot because it's documenting history. Like for a 100th season, they're going to be looking back at the stuff that I make. And like, that's a lot of responsibility, right? Obviously if cool, I don't miss Baker Mayfield throwing a pass to Mike Evans to tie Jerry Rice's record and all those things, right? If I'm trying something cool when that happens, it's like I didn't get that shot. Like it's not, it has more legs than just trying different things. But at the same time too, how to get those fans to buy in, that message that you were just talking about of how to, redemption or comeback story, or I guess those are the same thing, but like all those different things you can on a not theatric, but on more of like the film level, that stuff is huge.
Yeah, it's theatric, cinematic.
Mhm.
These are the things I was thinking about because that's what I put into these episodes.
Yeah.
Of I want this show to be about you.
Mhm.
This episode.
Mhm.
So how do I develop you
Mhm.
as a person of interest? Especially if people don't know who I am or who you are
Yeah.
and the story behind it, right?
Mhm.
So, I mean, saying that you only have 5 or 6 people is very small of a team.
Yeah.
But you can imagine, I don't know, who would you say has the biggest media team? The NFL.
The Chiefs are pretty big.
Let's just say
the
Chiefs.
Jets are also really big.
Surprisingly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you haven't watched their stuff, like their stuff is sick.
All right. So let's just use the Chiefs. They've been on a hot streak lately.
Yeah.
If you have 20 people,
Mhm.
you could say, hey, you 5 or you 4, a quarter of their team.
Right.
You're going to experiment this week.
Yeah.
Show me something I haven't seen.
Mhm.
And then obviously, like, imagine you guys were split up in small teams.
Yeah.
I mean, your entire production team would be one
person,
small team.
Yeah.
Or one person
I
if
see
you're
what you're saying.
divided.
Yeah.
But compared to them.
Yeah.
Imagine, okay, we got week 17. I'm
Mhm.
like, damn, it's going to be really hard to experiment because I've got 17 other weeks of
Mhm.
every other team, trying to be more creative than us. But these were the things I was thinking about.
Yeah.
If I was in your shoes.
Yeah. And then that's
Cool
a constant challenge too.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a cool job, and I'm not going to, take that away, but it's like at the same time too, you get down to the nitty gritty. It's like, just create, like, and I'm trying to wrap my brain around it too all the time. I'm like, some days I wake up and I'm like, I don't want to create. Like I just want to like,
It's draining.
Yeah, it's draining.
Yeah.
And seeing other people do cool stuff and then being like, how can we do that? And I'm like, I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
You're in week 17 and you haven't slept well for 16 weeks. It's like, how are you going to put something cool out? But it's a constant challenge for sure.
Oh, yeah. So describe the workload that occurs right after a game's over.
Mhm.
So you just filmed for 4 hours and people are expecting,
Mhm.
The Instagram highlights, TikTok, this, that, whatever.
Yeah.
Explain what it's like. So you said, what was it? It was like 8 hours before game day, 7 hours?
So, yeah. So like 5.5 we'll get there.
Yeah.
But then like after the game, it's, kind of down a breakdown. It's breakdown, get everything back to the facility, and then we kind of have a little bit of a grace period because you're ingesting all your footage, and that footage isn't just like, cool, you put the card in and just edit. Like you have to dump it onto another drive. Like usually Mondays we want to see content go out. Tuesdays a little bit more.
Okay, so it's not as fast as I assumed.
Yeah. I mean, we try to. A lot of the time they're called LCCs. I think that's league content correspondent, something along those lines. So they have cameras that are there and they're capturing stuff and then sending stuff live. They're just like flipping things. And that's with, an FX3, or that's with an A7 III or A7S III, whatever it is. And they're just, sending stuff to the league, and then we'll post it on our channels. So those content things go out. Photos are immediate. That's like somebody takes a picture, it gets sent through an Ethernet cord to somebody's laptop who colors it, edits it, edits it, and then sends it back to our social department who gets the live clip from the field, and they'll put a little carousel on Instagram and they'll send that out, and it'll be posted within probably like 20 minutes of the clip.
Crazy.
Happening.
So I guess that's where my thought process came from.
Yeah.
Because I was telling you before, I'm a photographer. So I'm thinking of stuff going back to back super fast. So video's got a little bit more time, a little more leeway.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you guys archive everything?
Yeah. Yeah. And we're going through some struggles right now. You were talking about your drives earlier. So we have a drive that I don't even want to say, I don't even know the total, number of terabytes on this, but we are stressed before the season started because we had 10 terabytes left on our massive server, and we fill those up so quickly. Like when we're shooting them mic'd up, it's probably no less than a terabyte of footage that will have to go on there. And we have 18 weeks. So 8 weeks that are just not going to have any. So we bought this relatively expensive. It's an NAS. I don't know what that acronym stands for. It's something something storage, whatever it is.
Non-stable storage?
Yes, maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Steady state storage, SSD?
Yeah, SSD is solid state.
Solid state.
But I don't know what NAS. I don't.
All right.
Somebody else on our staff knows it a little bit
more.
Above
my pay grade.
Hey, retweet. That's all I'm saying with me. It's like 47 terabytes.
Not as big as I thought.
No. So it's not like there's different drives that you put into our overall server. We have a server room relatively close to where our area is right near it. But we'll just plug in there and we'll just be able to drop things onto the server now. And that gives us a little bit more space. But we were stressed with 10 terabytes left and we were like, I don't know how we're going to do it. It's a lot.
For the people listening, this one episode will be over 1 terabyte.
Yeah.
This one episode.
Yeah.
Between these 3 cameras. The audio is like barely anything.
Right. Megabytes,
but like, I have 56 terabytes to archive. And that's only going to last me probably the first year.
Yeah.
And I'm dropping 1 a week. So I'm hoping to get 52 episodes. I don't even think I'm going to get 52 episodes. Yeah. So the fact that an entire NFL team was down to 10 terabytes is terrifying.
It's scary. Yeah, it's scary.
Terrifying.
It's scary.
Because I archived everything in 2 backups.
Yeah.
And then eventually once it's live, then I can go back down to 1 and kind of clear up space.
Right.
But I'm just like constantly backing stuff up.
Yeah. And like personal stuff too. Like I want to make sure I have for a reel or cool, what have you done? Like I've been at the Bucs for 7 seasons now. It's like, cool, what have I have to show? Like, what did I do project wise? And then like, I'll try to archive some stuff. I have 2 4 terabyte drives, a 2 terabyte drive, and that's just personal stuff that I'll just dump things to. But now that we're in this situation, now I'm having to put work stuff on those and delete other things that I had on those that not sentimental, necessarily, but I was just like, I need space. I need space.
Yeah. We'll chat more about that afterwards.
Storage is crazy. Storage is wild.
That's wild. I just expected way more.
Yeah.
I thought you guys would just have like rooms of that stuff.
And we do, but it's those
50 years.
Those are filled up.
Yeah.
And now we're trying to dig back into that stuff and we can't access it because it's in like deep freeze, it's called. It's like an Amazon Web Service thing. So if you click on a file, it basically crashes your computer because it's accessing it from the cloud and then, or maybe not the cloud, maybe it's accessing it from some server.
Yeah.
And it takes 12 to 24 hours to access that one file. Where it's just stress. It's just stress. That's all.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
So how much freedom do you have on a day-to-day?
Mm-hmm.
You're jam-packed with workload.
Yeah.
Do you have freedom of like, this has to be captured, but then just captured how you want? Or have you kind of gotten into a routine?
A little bit of both. I think for event coverage, it is more freedom. We kind of had to have a standard for how we like to see things captured on game day. We have a standard of how, audio is played, whatever it is. We try to keep everything as uniform as possible because my boss might have said it. It was basically like create a project like you're creating, like you're going to be in a car crash. It sounds so aggressive.
Elaborate what that means.
So if I'm setting up my project, if I can't make it to work that day, somebody else can access my stuff and be fine. So if we have a routine, if we have a uniform look for all of the stuff that we have, I'm talking more so project based, but I think for event coverage, if you're getting interviews, if you're capturing that audio, if you're getting the shots, smiles, being happy, inviting things, that's what we try to capture. And I think a little bit of freedom is the cool shots, like we were talking about with the flavor cam, getting different shots of, the rails on a a post or something, whatever it is, and going through and you're seeing the field behind it. It's like that's in focus. All this other stuff is just in, blurry. You can't see that. Shooting it in a different way, that's where the freedom comes in to create in that space. But we try to keep it as uniform as possible in the other spaces just because, it's maybe not what you expect.
Repeatable.
Yeah, but as a viewer too, you're like, cool, I know that I'm going to watch something and be like, that was sweet. I've seen this before, but I haven't seen it done this way. The freedom is kind of all over the place in that regard, but
that is freedom.
It's there.
Yeah.
It's there.
So you kind of answered the next question. Break down like color grading.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you guys are so consistent, but is there a look that like the NFL is like, hey, you're going to look this way? Or is that organization to organization?
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely an organization.
Gotcha.
Different people put emphasis on colors. Our red is, we want to keep that red as red as possible.
Yeah, vibrant.
Yeah, but it's also our true red because there's the one red that's not to nerd out, but like a hex code of red is different than our hex code of red. So we try to keep it in that same space. It's like A71930. That's the code for it. It's just ingrained in my brain.
Hopefully the hex code should be accurate.
Right.
But yeah, between lighting,
yeah,
the Kelvin lighting and stuff like that.
Yeah, or a cloudy day. Or you're inside, or you're in the Mercedes or the
white light, blue light, yellow
light. Exactly.
Yeah.
All those things change it. So we focus on our reds and our pewters, and pewter is like a variation of gray, whatever.
The two colors for the Bucs.
Yeah, pewter red, white, black. We have our orange now, our creamsicle.
Mm-hmm.
But on the flag, it's two different oranges. So it's like, which orange is it? And then it's cool. It's the creamsicle. It's the one that we want to focus on. We don't really focus too much on the orange because those are a few games per year. So that's a little bit different in this space. But yeah, we focus on those colors and then just try to make like skin tones accurate. We don't want anyone looking too dark, too white, whatever it is. And then like not green. We have a problem of our cameras shoot a little bit green. Our Arri cameras shoot a little bit green. Our Sony cameras shoot a little bit blue. So it's just trying to like get those to look as real life. You're not going to get like real life colors all the time because we want it vibrant. We want it to look edited. We wanted it to look nice.
Cinematic.
Yeah. And we'll put vignettes and we'll do all these other funny things. But it's like at the end of the day, we just want to make sure that it looks good.
It's real
to the viewer. Yeah.
So for the people listening, there's color signs for each company and each one has their own color signs. Yeah. So that's why you'll be like, oh, that looks like an old photo from the 70s or like a Polaroid camera. They had their own color signs. That's why those photos look with film and everything else. So pretty cool. So I was curious. I mean, you guys keep things so consistent.
Try to.
Most organizations do.
Yeah.
But it's just very impressive.
Yeah. And sometimes we first off appreciate that because that's color is something that is ongoing. It's like we constantly are just trying to fix things. We have a staff now that's been together for a while and we know that look. We know what we want it to look like. And before, when I first started off, it was all over the place. It was, this is green, this is purple, this is a little bit blue. It's just trying to, and I'm still learning things. We'll talk about it, I'm sure, but like I'm still learning. Everything that I'm doing is learning on the fly. And I think there's a lot of good in that, but also like you kind of know what you're doing. You know what I mean?
It takes time.
Yeah, for sure.
So explain where the team's long form and short form content gets distributed. So it's like some stuff, this is only on Instagram. You can only get this on the website. Break that down for us.
And that's interesting because I truly, from my side of things, I'm not social. I'm not on the social side. So there could be a cadence for all that stuff. We optimize all of the things that we do for basically every platform. And if social wants to post it on there, then they will. So there's dimensions, like a 16:9, which is the typical widescreen, 4:5, which is optimized for Instagram, 1:1, that's Twitter and Facebook, 9:16, that's like Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, and then there's like the cinematic if you want to do like a 3:2 or something like that. So there's different dimensions and stuff that we focus on. A lot of the things that we'll do is just all of them. Like we'll send out everything, and then if they're like, hey, this is performing better in a carousel, which is like a video, maybe in like 19 pictures. I think you can do 20 things in a carousel, which is crazy. But we'll do everything that they need, and then they'll just kind of distribute it out.
Gotcha.
But our long form stuff primarily is YouTube. We'll cut shorts down for, TikTok. Sorry, I forgot TikTok. So TikTok, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts to drive people to YouTube. Our YouTube our follower count isn't as high as we kind of want. So we're trying to boost up that a little bit. And people love YouTube for long form. YouTube is my favorite platform. I watch it all the time. So, but optimizing stuff is a different field or different area that I have expertise in, just because like I'm just making the content. I don't know where it performs better. Time of day, so weird. There's so many weird things.
A lot goes into it.
Yeah,
but I didn't realize. So there's other teams that are doing the distribution.
Yeah.
So explain how that works. So how many people are a team like that?
I think we have 5. So we have 2 web, and I apologize, I'm not going to say their titles correctly,
that's
but
fine.
Like a web first. So they'll focus on our website. A lot of the things that we do, if it's 16:9, if it's going on YouTube, it'll go on our website as well. I don't really think there's a ton of traffic to our website for video, like for people watching video. But if I look up a team, I'm going to look up their website and I'm going to go to their website first. So as much as I say I don't think that there's a lot, there's probably a decent amount. But I think there's two web first, and then there's 3 or 4 social first. So that'll be all of the previous platforms, as I mentioned, and then people that are also capturing. So they might capture with their phones on a sideline, or they might capture different things like that. But their main priority is fielding, like if they have a request for a graphic, cool, putting in that request, getting this logo to put on different things. So they're not necessarily like video producers, but they definitely produce in terms of posting the content that we create.
Yeah. And distribution.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Explain, you've been doing this for a long time now. This is 7 seasons.
7 seasons. Yep.
Explain the importance of having both short form and long form content.
Yeah.
Because TikTok's super hot right now, and now everyone's getting into shorts and reels and the short form content.
Mm-hmm.
But before all that existed, long form, kind of the only thing we had.
It's kind of king, yeah.
Right? So explain the benefits of both and why each organization should prioritize both.
Invest in it, yeah. I think going back to the conversation we were having earlier about like the avid and casual fan, I think now more so than before, we're trying to hit a different demographic of people, of fans. And I think the young fan gravitates more towards the TikTok, gravitates more towards YouTube shorts, the reels, all those things. And I think variability in your content is also important. We're talking about doing cool tricks and trying different things. That's important, but it's also important the type of content that you're putting out. That's not necessarily only talking about video to video, but it's if I see something on TikTok, maybe not on TikTok, if I see something on Instagram Reels and I'm like, cool, there's a link in the description that drives me to a YouTube thing and I can watch that full form, whatever long form content, I'm going to do that. So I think branching off and not keeping your content platform specific is huge, because it allows it to have kind of wings and allows it to branch off. And that's something that we've definitely put a little bit more emphasis on, even in the time that I've been here at the Bucs. From 2019, the content norms were way different than in 2025. I think a lot of that has to do with, as bad as COVID was, it changed a lot of things about how people ingest content. They're sitting at home. They're on the bus to work, or they're on the train to work, or they're in their car sitting at a red light, whatever it is. And they're on all these platforms and they're like, cool, I want to watch something quick. 15 seconds, 90 seconds, whatever it is. 90 seconds is a little bit long. It's probably 15 to 30 seconds is really like the time that, if you don't capture somebody in the first 2 seconds though, you're losing them. So a lot of the stuff that we create from our long form stuff, that's 25 minutes usually, sometimes a little bit longer than that. If we can make something that's bite sized and people can just watch it, then that helps that content perform better. But I think like the fan first, I think is huge. And I think that that's something in this space that is always, obviously always changing,
Yeah.
Why do fans act the way that fans act? It's like, cool, they just want to be connected to the team, right?
Definitely. You described it as wings. I was thinking of a funnel.
Yeah.
Which is, similar. They're
Absolutely.
spreading, right? So you're funneling people from the 15 seconds to the 20-minute, in the current, or I am that man, and, everything else going on.
Absolutely. And I think real quick, that is how we look at it, the funnel. The, funneling our fans down from casuals to avids. The avids are always going to ingest it, right? The avids are always going to take it. But that, if you think about a funnel, you're getting everybody, right? Only the people that actually care at the bottom is the thin, skinny part.
They're going straight through.
Exactly. So we're trying to figure out how to, wrap our arms around all of that and then funnel that down. And hopefully that funnel gets a little bit wider and it's just a straight, like the Cowboys or the Steelers or the Patriots that are legacy franchises that they post something, that thing is going to blow up.
Yeah.
That post is going to blow up because people just care.
And you said legacy franchise, which is exactly what they are. So explain the long and short form content that you're creating throughout the season.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of discussed like arcs earlier.
Yeah.
Do you have arcs that you have pre-planned of like, we're going to have this season recap we know is going to be coming out in episode, or week 17 or whatever?
Yeah. A little bit. A lot of it is kind of rolling with the season. It's if Bucky Irving last year had a crazy year, it's like, cool, let's focus on him for a storyline. Yeah. Like, why not mic him up for a game or get him for an interview, focus on him at practice? All of those things can kind of change. And I think that that's the beauty of trying to roll with it. I said it was a little philosophical. I'm going to keep going back to that because it's such when you bring up that, like the cinematic way that you can capture something, or maybe not cinematic, but like the film side of things of developing characters and developing an arc, having like the highs and lows and the ebb and flows, all of those different things is important because that's real life. And I think that we try to pre-plan things, but then once you do that, you're stuck, right? Oh, this episode is going to be on Baker Mayfield. Oh, but Kate Otten just had 4 touchdowns in a row, and he is the only wide receiver or only whatever receiver that's healthy, right? You have he's a tight end, but like Baker was just throwing to Kate Otten for a few weeks because everybody was hurt. So it's like, cool, let's focus on Kate Otten because that storyline, yeah, Baker's a quarterback. He throws the ball, but Kate Otten's story is different. He was hurt last year. He was out for a few games. He's coming back and he starts going off, starts going crazy, whatever it is. So as much as you would like to pre-plan, that almost like kind of pigeonholes you. I don't know if that's the cop-out way of an answer, but like I think it's true in a lot of instances.
Yeah. I think it would just be pre-planned in a different way. I think just the scope or lens would be different. So my thought from an outsider looking in, the pre-plan would be like, all right, we have the next 5 weeks ahead of us.
Right.
We're going to find 3 heroes.
Yeah.
We're going to find 2 redemptions.
Yeah.
We're going to find 1 failure that we have to highlight because the more we highlight the failure, the more the high is really going to rise.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
These are things I was thinking about. I was getting excited. I was really amped up for the this conversation.
Yeah, and I mean like that's like I feel like that's life in general. Like I'm sure in your life too. Like you've had characters that have been your highs, your lows, whatever quote unquote failures have happened in your life. It's like cool. How do those boost up your wins too? And I think that in a lot of instances for me, like I'm not necessarily thinking in that lens because I'm showing up to work. It's like cool. It's a new season. Fresh look, fresh outlook. And then the season starts and it's like, cool, there's failures, there's wins. We don't want to focus on our failures too much. Of course. But like we want to make sure that our wins are wins. We're executing on those wins because that's the stuff that, NFL.com or, NFL Network, whatever, those people are going to talk about our wins.
Yeah.
But it's like, what do we do in our failures that make those wins better? And I really like how you explain that.
Yeah. You have to have a bad day to know you had a good one. The great lesson my dad taught me. So even just defining the failure may not be the loss. It could be that this guy had this injury.
Yeah.
Where it's like, you're not going to wish that upon anyone. Yeah. But like we have to notify, like we have to recognize our key guys injured. And this is how we have to build back as a team or a unit. So it's not always the failure of like, oh, damn, we lost by, 20.
Right.
Or whatever the score was, right?
Right.
It could be super minute of like, wow. I remember last year, Mike Evans barely hit, forgot the exact number, whatever the touchdown was.
1,000 yards when he barely got to it.
It was 1,000, and then whatever the number of touchdowns was too.
Yeah.
When he actually scored because it was in overtime and just that, whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, we could really highlight he almost missed it. And then when he hits it, it makes it feel that much
way bigger,
that much sweeter.
Yeah.
So describe what the in the current is. What is that long form content?
So a lot of the stuff that we focus on is quote unquote, like helmets off stuff. It's stuff that, we see these players go out on the field and they're like gladiators, right? They're wearing all their war ready stuff, the shoulder pads and their helmets and stuff. But when they take that off, like they're a human being as well. And I think that the beauty of in the current, I'm going into detail, but like the beauty of in the current is showing both of those sides of things. It's showing the off the field stuff. It's showing them, if you've seen like Hard Knocks or any of those other kind of long form stuff, receiver, quarterback, all these things that are coming out on Netflix. When a guy is like Kirk Cousins is sitting at his house and he's like a playbook that he opens up and it was from many years ago and he has all these plays that he wrote down and then he goes out onto the field and executes on all those things that he learned. Kirk Cousins is a bad example because we're playing the Falcons this week and whatever, we're just gonna let that one go. But I think like how you're off the field and then you're on the field and how that is different. Characters are developed. We try to boost our guys up as heroes in a lot of ways, but it's like they're off the field stuff if they're doing stuff in the community, if they're recovering events and trying to put it out in a way that is all cohesive, right? Like if you just saw one story about Baker in 3 different places, you might not see 2 of the other stories because you only saw the one. In the current allows you to kind of wrap your arms around everything that's going on while documenting the season, I guess, in review, game by game, whatever it is, week by week. So something new that I'm dabbling into. I did something called Below the Surface a few years ago and it just didn't do well. And so I kind of got out of long form got into more like the short form highlight stuff. And now this year we're doing it a little bit differently. And, I'm doing some of it. I'm editing, and then it'll go up the chain and people have to approve it. And, I work with my boss quite a bit, who's been in it for a long time. He's been with the Bucs for 12 years, I think it is. And he's been doing long form a lot. So just trying to pick his brain and, find out what works and what doesn't work. But it's cool. It's a cool opportunity for sure.
How receptive are the players to do stuff off the field?
They have their moments.
Yeah. I'm not using any names, but most guys are like, they just want to go home, or they're kind of eager to do community stuff.
Yeah. Like I said, they definitely, we have our people that we can go to.
Yeah.
Levante David being one of them, he's awesome at, helping us out. And then we have other guys that are just kind of like play hard to get. Sounds hilarious, but we're like professional stalkers in ways that, during the lunch period, there's a big window. So today we had from like 12:45 to 3:15 was our lunch window. And we have to like get guys to do stuff. But, you can imagine their phones are blowing up because they have a lot of people hitting them up, whatever it is. It's like they see a text from somebody they don't know, they're not going to respond. So we have to see them in person to like, hey, can you do this with us tomorrow? And then they're like, yeah, sure, no problem. And then you go see them tomorrow and they're like, oh, I forgot about it, man. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, you know what I mean? Like if I did that to you, you'd be like, what do you mean?
Yeah. Well, your ass is on the line.
Exactly.
Right? Because you got to get this stuff done.
Yeah. And like, then you have our bosses. If we can't get somebody, then they're like, okay, find a backup. And you're like, okay, my backup didn't come through. Okay, find another backup.
Yeah.
Like
tough.
Yeah. And like, it usually comes in when we're asking people to be mic'd up because they're like, oh, I don't want to be. And we're like, we're not going to put out something bad. Like,
you know what I mean? We get to edit it. It's home field advantage.
Yeah. So we're not going to put out something bad, but relatively receptive. I mean, every team is different.
And it depends during the season too. Like if you're asking me to do this week 17, and I've just been getting my ass kicked this whole time, I'm going to be way less fresh. In week 2, I'm like, yeah, that's fine. No big deal. So I was kind of curious.
And that it's tough. That's probably one of the, I know I'm privileged saying this, but it's probably one of the worst parts of the job, being like, oh yeah, I had to wait down there to talk to Levante David about being mic'd up for the next week, or like Mike Evans to do this project with us when he's winning this award. It's like, it's a first world problem for sure. But like waiting there and 50 people, 100 people are standing there and they're watching. Like you're just sitting on your phone. You're just trying to kill time. You're like, I'm hungry. I want to go eat. I have work to do upstairs, but I have to wait downstairs for this guy.
Yeah.
One of the worst parts of the job for sure.
Yeah, but it happens.
Yeah, for sure.
So if you were to spearhead a brand new long form project for the Bucs, you're a creative everything.
Yeah.
What kind of direction would you go
in? A long form. So we're kind of trying to do that now a little bit. I mean, I guess this is the best way to describe it. We're doing like a 24 hours, like a day in the life. And we did one recently with Zion McCollum in Pittsburgh. And that was really cool. That was a different side of things, even for me as a fan. Like I'm a fan first. Like, I grew up loving the Giants. Like that was my team growing up. And, I'd see Michael Strahan or I'd see Eli Manning and I was like, he's the coolest guy ever. Right. And when I came here, not I was desensitized, but it's like, cool, now they're my coworkers. But at the same time too, I have to think about how I was as a kid. And if somebody really looks up at one of our players and, is their hero, they have a jersey, whatever it is, and I can put a camera on them and they're, stretching out before practice. They're being mic'd up during practice. They're, in the training room, whatever it is, post-practice, pre-practice prep, post-practice prep. They're playing Mario Kart in their bedroom. All of these things happen in this long form piece that we did with Zion. And it was really cool after. I think it was rewarding for me because I was like, I'm thinking of, myself watching that when I was a kid and being like, that is this type of stuff where it humanizes a guy. It sheds light on like what it actually takes to be a professional athlete. But then it's also like, it's just cool. It's just cool stuff. Like for me shooting that, he was a great person to do that first project with because he was like, hey, I have to run upstairs to my room real quick. I'll be downstairs in a second. Sick. We go through the lunch line with him. He's like talking about what food he's putting on his plate, why it's important, how many calories a day he's eating, all of those things. And like, for me as a fan, I'd be like, this is cool. Like I'm seeing them on Sunday, but I don't know what goes into it for their week. And I think for me, that's probably what I would do because it's just the most authentic feel for a fan to be like, yeah, I know what he does. I know what, and he got an interception in the Steelers game, in their preseason game. So it was like, that was the cherry on top. It's like all that prep that leads into his performance on the game. And like, that made it sick. Like that for me, when I had somebody else mic'd up. He got the interception and I was like, this is awesome. Like, I don't cheer too much. I'll get nervous on the field and all those things when there's like high highs and there's low lows. I'll get like internally, like my heart rate will go up a little bit. But when he got the interception, I was standing next to a guy that was shooting on the big boards in Pittsburgh. And let's go. I was like cheering. And I was like, all right, chill out. Let me go back to doing my job. But it was just cool. Like, those moments are super rewarding for sure.
It's relatable.
Yeah.
Too, especially for the fan or the viewer at home.
Yeah.
So tell me about the I Am That Man project.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Yeah, so I kept mentioning Lavonte David, but Lavonte David is like the poster child for this. There's 5 characteristics, I think is the best way to describe it, that the Buccaneers look for in a player. When we're drafting a Buccaneers player, it's like, it's competitiveness. I'm going to butcher all these, so maybe I won't even go into what those 5 characteristics are.
Sure, but it's 5 key characteristics.
5 key characteristics that we look for in the draft. I say we, our scouts in our front office, and it's, why is that person a right person for the Buccaneers? And Lavonte David embodies all of those things. So I Am That Man is a moniker that our scouting department came up with a few years ago. It's a guy that's actually not even with the Bucs anymore. And he came up with this moniker, and it's the ideal Buccaneer player in a person. And Lavonte David, since he embodies that, we use that as our 50th season. It's like, we had all these greats. We had Richard Wood. We had
Rondé Barber.
Who was a big one. We had all these people that came and talked, and then we had our rookies come in, and we had them talking to the greats. Tristan Wirfs, Lavonte David, and Tony Mayberry was another one. And they're just guys that are deep cuts for the Bucs that made the Buccaneers from the beginning. Richard Wood was on the first team. He was playing with Leroy Selman, and like hearing his stories about losing all that, and like what factors made him keep going. And I think for the Buccaneers franchise in general, it's like, we started off, we weren't great, but it's like, then in 1979, we won the division and we're back at the top. We went from worst to first. That's like what it is. But you don't just go worst to first overnight. It's like, what work did we put in? What did John McCain instill in the players? All those other things. That was in the 70s. That was in the 80s. That was in the 90s, right? What did we do in the Super Bowl year in 2000? So it's like, cool, what did Rondé Barber experience? What can he see in Lavonte David, who he played with? So there's all these webs that kind of, all come together to create the Buccaneers franchise. And at the root of it was I Am That Man, and why those people that were on those teams were the right people to be on those teams. I Am That Man wasn't around in the 70s, wasn't around in the 80s. It was around like 7 or 8 years ago when they created it, maybe a little bit more than that when they created it. But the truth is, like, those greats were there for a reason, and that's why the Buccaneers are successful now. That was a project that I spearheaded with a lot of help. I said a lot of help from a lot of other people, but that came together in pretty quick time, and we shot at Grand Cathedral Cigar. It was so sick. It was so cool.
In Tampa, I've been there.
Yeah, it was so cool, and the space, like the space is beautiful.
So I knew where you were just from the cover photo, just because I've been there, right? It's in Tampa. And that's something I want to talk about, where when you get to do these other projects off the field, you really get to incorporate the city of Tampa. Yeah. But it's also Tampa Bay.
Right.
Because I feel like St. Pete is kind of like,
forgotten in a sense.
That's a good way to put it. It's forgotten.
100%.
Where it's like, they got to be your fan. There's not another team on the other side of the bay.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Not for football.
Yep.
So you really have to capture that audience too. So
100%. If
you do something at Grand Cathedral Cigars or the Morean Art Center or wherever else, you really get to capture other pockets of the
and that's
community.
Huge. That's huge. Like all parts of the bay.
Yeah.
We have like our crew. Our fans are called the crew, and like you see Bucs flags when you're driving through areas of St. Pete. I live in Pinellas Park. I live like close to here, but like I come to St. Pete more than I go to Tampa. City wise, I go to Tampa every day for work, but like city wise, and I love St. Pete. So anytime I can, boost up St. Pete and prove that like St. Pete, honestly, I think St. Pete's better than Tampa. So when they're talking about moving the Rays to Tampa, I'm like, no, I can't do that. Can't do that.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
So something I found the Bucs is doing so well. Tell me how they value creativity but all the way down from like graphic design, logos, apparel, even like fans apparel.
Yeah.
Kind of break that down from inside the organization.
Yeah, so it's a little bit new what we're doing. Recently, we have a new CMO came in, and there's a lot more emphasis on those things. And I think that the storytelling, we're trying to boost that up a lot more. It's like, cool, yeah, you're putting out something cool, but it's like, why are we doing it? Like all intentionality behind it, as many things as we are doing. And I think in video, we're experiencing that because everything has to have a story. Everything has to kind of have arms and legs and can move on its own. And I think for all of the merch that we're doing, it's like, well, we're not just putting a Bucs logo on something, right? For you're mentioning fans, a lot of like the women's line of a lot of the things that we were doing, but the NFL would just be like a tank top, a crop top, all these things where it's like a modest fan might not want to wear that because, they think like that's what women should wear, whatever it is. So we're trying to create capsules of things that our fans can connect with and our fans can be proud of the stuff that they're wearing. And I think that our merch now, I said capsules, it truly is a capsule because it's unique video, it's unique graphics, it's unique apparel, and all of those things can kind of live on their own. It might be out of our wheelhouse to do something like that because you think of more of like a Mitchell and Ness, or you think of like a
New
Nike,
Era.
New Era, all
Majestic.
these exactly,
Yeah.
all of those brands that kind of maybe they pay homage. I know Homage is a company too, but it's like
Mhm.
homage to like something else in the past. But it's also like its own capsule. And a lot of those capsules are like the Cardinals, the Vikings, all these other teams. It's like, yeah, that looks sick as one, but how can we kind of create that as the Buccaneers brand? And that's something that we're putting a lot more emphasis on recently. So it's cool to see that it's being noticed by other people because I see it on a day-to-day basis.
The Bucs are doing so well with their marketing. So, do you know who John Contino is?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, hopefully you met him.
Absolutely.
Oh my God. Dream interview if John's listening. So he did all of their rebranding right before you joined, 2017. I think through 2021, they definitely kept it through the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Absolutely crushed. Yeah. So my sister's a graphic design artist.
Okay.
I didn't tell you that.
Yeah.
She turned me on to John Contino like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I was in like high school.
Yeah.
So I've been following him for years. So I wrote these down. He did stuff for the Dolphins in 2017, UFC 217, Chicago White Sox in 2019.
Okay.
He was with you guys 2017 to 2021. He just did stuff with the Clippers.
Okay.
LA Clippers.
The rebrand, yeah.
And he did stuff with the New York Giants too.
Wow. He's from New York, I think, right?
Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Absolutely crushing it. But it really shows that like the Bucs care about the image.
Yeah.
And it's not just video, it's not just photo, it's branding, it's logo, it's color.
Yeah.
I mean, how long did we talk about the color and how important color grading is?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if you look like Cardinal red,
your brand, it's all over the place.
You just lost it, right?
And you like year to year too. I mean, you brought up a great point too. Like we're trying to put more emphasis on that. And John, I don't know him super well. You mentioned it was until 21.
That he was specifically spearheading it. Yep.
We worked with him a lot during. I guess it might have been the Super Bowl year, and we like rebranded. We changed our jerseys to like the current look, but a current old look, right? Because we used to be a different, like the jersey, the red and the whites and stuff like that. We used to have like
heritage.
We were like quote unquote like alarm clock jerseys before, where it's like the different line. So, I mean, I know he was instrumental in all that, but he's definitely from New York. I know that his voice is very
he's got the accent.
He's got the Brooklyn accent, for sure. But he was more on like the design side and like the brand. You mentioned like the brand side of things, and so I didn't have too much experience working directly with him. But I know you mentioned that list. It's all
incredible.
Over.
These are just sports teams that I highlighted, right?
Yeah.
And like the Bucs are just doing so well at like knowing who they are to create the fan loyalty to keep people coming back to back because they're not a legacy brand yet. 50 years from now, 25 years from now, these big numbers, the 75th anniversary, 100, that stuff's crazy. It just takes time to get there, right?
Absolutely.
We're not all the Celtics or the Red Sox. You know what I mean? Or like these really old teams.
Yeah.
So the 2026 season, they teamed up with another designer, I'm a huge fan of him. So Alan Peters, have you met Alan Peters? So he created the badge, the 50-year badge.
Okay. Yeah.
It's on every uniform.
Yeah.
I think it's going on your guys' tickets.
Yep.
You guys are making flags out of it. It's going on your hats.
Yeah.
Just crushing it. Absolutely crushing it. I couldn't talk more highly how the Bucs is like really valuing
right
what the fan is seeing. And like, I haven't even gone to a game this season or last season. I mean, it's been a little bit since I've seen it, but I've been very up to date because it'll catch your eye of like, that's a great logo.
Yeah.
And it's memorable of like, it's the 50th year. Like you can't miss it, right? It's not the 35th year or something off.
Yeah. And I think that's why we, put emphasis on that. I think this year, we're mentioning a lot of graphical assets and stuff like that. I don't have too much like overlap with at least the two people that you mentioned. But those are iconic. Like the 50th season happens 1 year, right? One time. And I know how many versions they went through to, get that final logo, that final look. But to bring somebody on to do that, like that's important, like that's the legacy, that's the history. But it's the day-to-day stuff that's you can really see a difference. It's the graphics from 2019 to now. You can see the change, you can see the difference. And that's not to say that there's new people, because there's a bunch of people that were there from 2017. It's showing their growth too. And it's showing the emphasis you mentioned that we're putting on those assets and how those things can boost up all of the other work that we do, right? If you're changing the look of, font, we've gone through 3 or 4 different brands since I've been there. It's like, cool, find stuff that works. If it doesn't work, change it, right? And like the same thing can be said with MySpace. It's like, cool, if that angle didn't work of that look in an interview, if that didn't work, cool, change it, do something different. And I think the graphic stuff, it's cool to hear that it's making an impact. Like I said before, because like I just show up to work, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I see
it
every
bleeds
day.
through.
Yeah.
And I'm not the average fan.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll see, especially when these episodes come out, the amount of thought that I'm also trying to do. But that's how you develop a real brand.
Absolutely.
You have to feel a loyalty or a want. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Also, like that you feel included.
Yeah. See yourself in it too.
Yeah, exactly. If you're rocking the real.
So like
stuff.
maybe you don't think that you're a fan, or like a real fan. I don't know the verbiage that you use, but like,
oh, I'm a fan. Yeah, I'm not going every game.
Right. And but it's important that we connect. I say we as a brand, as a franchise, with people like you, because then if you're you're at your house, you're at your apartment, or you're at your wherever it is, and you're hanging a Bucs flag outside, it's like, cool, that's a fan.
Yeah, put
the
like, game on.
Exactly.
Put on the radio.
Exactly. And like, cool, you can connect with Gene, right, at the radio. Like you can connect with all these people because you might not go to every game, but it's like the one time you do go to the game, and then you tell 5 people about it, and you're like, oh, so cool, this experience was sick. Like, yeah, but then you just created 5 fans. It's like using the Buccaneers as a throughway to get fans like you to come to a game, to experience it, to like the experience.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So NFL Films does long form content throughout the season for each team. Does anything that you guys produce get fed off to them? Like, do they get to use your stuff too?
Yeah.
Or is it just exclusively what they capture?
No. So when you say they shoot long form stuff, they'll shoot basically our games, and then we have to pay for that footage.
Okay.
So there'll be like a fee that we pay. Every team, I think across the league, it's just like not mandatory, but it's like, cool, give them money, we can use their footage. So we'll use their footage in promo assets. Like I think we have full rights to use their footage for most things, but yeah, like we'll send them things of practice. Maybe it's not NFL Films, but maybe it's NFL Network or ESPN, NBC. All of these companies, platforms will send stuff to. They might use it in a promo. I love ESPN. Sometimes the stuff that we shoot will end up on an ESPN promo, and that's like the coolest thing. I'll take my phone out and record it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Film shoots all of our games, and then we can kind of use it in any way. And it's just a symbiotic. They don't pay for our footage. We just kind of give it to them, because I don't know if it's still this way, but like we don't own anything as the Buccaneers. The league owns the franchise like logo. They own everything that goes with that. So I think that the owners of the team own the team, right? The revenue and all those things. But it's like, if the league wants something, then we just have to kind of like give it to them. I don't know. Like I said, it's a little bit murky, and I'm being very timid because like I don't know if that's the true.
Couldn't tell.
But like we just give them.
Yeah,
basically.
Still a partnership.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, very interesting. So if you were to pick one thing from your job, what would you say is your favorite?
Is my favorite.
What do you look forward to the most?
I think capturing stuff is really cool. I think for me as a fan, it's also the access is really cool. I think being close to some of these people that relationship building, whatever it might be. These are people that are like, when I was growing up, when I was a kid, it wasn't that long ago, but when I was a kid, I was like the Eli Mannings of the world. Like I said, the Michael Strands, I was like, those guys are gods, right? And just because I'm working here now doesn't mean that other people don't see them in that same light. And I think that we were talking before the podcast, like the glamour, quote unquote, is like worn off, but it's still sick. I worked with Tom Brady. Like I worked with all these names that are like, those are cool people to work with.
Gronkowski.
Yeah. And like the relationships that you have and that you can create and tell their story through it. I think that's probably the coolest part.
Yeah. Keeping it pure, keeping that fan experience authentic.
Yeah.
Very neat.
Absolutely.
Describe traveling. I'm assuming you guys go to every game. We talked about a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
Describe what's that process? Planes, trains, automobiles?
All of it. All is I not.
Yeah.
No, so we take a charter plane. It's only us on the plane. So like we'll park on the tarmac and
describe only your 6-man team.
No, only like the whole organization. Gotcha. I say whole organization. It's like the 50. I don't know however many players, maybe 65, 60, whatever, 60 players. And then there's probably 50 to 75 support staff. And that includes everybody else. So there's probably maybe like 160 to 180 people that will fly on this plane. And we'll go. So for instance, we're traveling this weekend for Atlanta. So we leave at 12:30. So we'll go to Tampa's airport. We'll park on the tarmac. It's like the charter area. We'll park on the tarmac and then we'll get on the plane. We'll go to the city, whatever. And then right after the game is over. So our game is at 1. Game ends around 4. We'll pack up. It'll be about an hour after the game is done. We'll have to have everything packed up. We'll put it on these trucks that'll take our gear back to Tampa. And then we get on the plane and we're out within 3 hours of the game.
Trucks drive your stuff down?
Yeah. Yeah. So they have big gear, like big, like trunks of things. We have a case that I think when full is like 500, maybe a little bit more than that pounds of all of the equipment that we have. That's just the video. Photo has a case. It's also 500 pounds. So we can't put that underneath the plane because it's, I don't know the dynamics of a
but
whatever.
I guess it's also just running the risk. I don't know.
Yeah.
A lot of logistics.
Yeah, exactly. But we have like a semi that like.
Cool. This is a multi-million, if not billion-dollar. Billion-dollar industry, but the franchise is massive.
Yeah, right.
Very cool to hear the workings.
Yeah, and it's like for a 1 o'clock game, like I can get home in time to watch the 8 o'clock game at night, which is sick. Like for a close game, obviously. Like if I'm going to Seattle, like I'm not.
Yeah.
We have a game in Seattle in the middle of the season, and that game is at 4:05 there, or 4:05 here, so 1:05 there. I'm not going to get back until like 3 or 4 in the morning. It's like I'm not. Those games suck for sure. But for an Atlanta game or like a Carolina or like a Miami or Jacksonville or any of those ones on the East Coast, like
that's crazy.
We're close. We're close, and we leave pretty quickly after the game, which is also my favorite part. One of my favorite parts. Just like
so, you guys don't even need hotels.
No, we do need a hotel, so we'll go the day before. Sorry, I stopped on that.
Once I said that, I was like, no, I stopped on that.
Much. So chaotic. We'll leave at 12:30. From here, we'll get whatever to Atlanta at, I don't know, 1:15, 1:30. I don't know, maybe it's more than that. I have no idea. I just show up, and then we'll bus over to the hotel. Police escort, which is also sick. We're getting around the traffic and stuff, and then get to the hotel, chill. You can do whatever the night before. And then the game is at 1, so I'll have the early bus. Actually, for away games, we're not there 6 hours, whatever, before. The early bus leaves at 8 a.m. So we'll get to the stadium and start our day.
Yeah. I guess I meant after the game.
Yeah,
you're not going back to a hotel and you're just going home.
Yeah. Suitcase.
Very neat.
Suitcase, backpack, whatever it is. We're walking in the stadium with it. And then when we're done, we're throwing it up in the overhead and hitting the road. So
very, very
It's
cool.
a packed plane, though, for sure.
Yeah, I believe that. Yeah. I didn't anticipate your stuff would be driven back because those guys are working.
Yeah.
They got to get back.
They're Greek, Good Greek. Do you know that company?
Yeah, it's a local company.
Yeah. So
good for them. Good for you guys. Good Greek. Yeah.
They're our
get some promo.
Transport. Our transporter. Yeah.
Wow, so that's really cool.
Our stuff will go out the day before, and they'll just drive to the city, park at the stadium, and then when we show up, all of our stuff is there.
Even for like Seattle.
Seattle will fly all of our stuff.
I was about to say, like, this is getting crazy.
Yeah. So I've maybe gassed it up a little bit too much, but yeah. So for some of those cities, we'll have a bigger plane too.
Yeah.
So then we have to put some stuff on there because they're not going to drive across the country. That would take a few days before.
Too long. Yeah.
So for those games, we'll fly all of our stuff, but we're taking batteries out. We can't fly with batteries. So even on a charter plane, like we're still having to take our stuff out and put in the overhead container. And those games aren't fun though, because those cases, we're taking 15 batteries that are like chunkers, like they're
V-mounts.
They're big ones. Yeah, exactly. So I mean, those things are heavy. I don't know, it's probably like a 30-pound case that we're having to like lift up.
Yeah. You guys watching don't see everything behind us, but I mean, there's a lot that goes just into this.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm not filming a 50-man roster in a stadium with 50,000 people.
We do this setup for our stuff. So like I said before, this is the setup that we would use if it was a podcast like this.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Super cool.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite away stadium to film at? Mm-hmm. And which one is the hardest to film at?
I feel like I haven't filmed at everyone to even like have a hardest one to film at. My favorite one is probably Atlanta's really cool. Atlanta's sick. That might again sound like a cop out, but Indianapolis is really cool too. The history of like Lambeau was sick. Lambeau was really cool. Foxborough, where the Patriots play, is really sick.
Have you done the Saints?
I have.
You have.
Yeah. I don't like that stadium.
No,
that's probably the worst one.
I haven't been in any of these stadiums, not inside. So I couldn't tell you.
I think that might be the worst one.
Really? All right, so that answers that one.
Yeah. It's just dark. Like it's like super bright on the field, and then it's just dark behind. It's almost like an abyss.
Yeah.
And it looks like they're playing like a parking lot
with space.
Yeah, with just lights and stuff. You might be like, oh, that's sick. But like the light is a weird color, yellowish green. And then when you're coloring that, it's like, it's difficult. More in the post, but
I would assume that like the color temperature would be standard among the league. Mm-hmm. But even if it is, the color of the building inside, the color of the stands, because like if you've got a red team, you're probably gonna have red stands, right?
Yeah. I don't know if there is a standard, actually.
I would think.
Yeah.
Because like growing up, I played in Tropicana Field as a kid, which was really cool.
That's awesome, yeah.
But like as a fan, you're like, how'd that guy drop that, fly ball? But like when I actually played there, looking up, it's incredibly hard to see the ball.
I'm sure.
Like it was miserable.
Yeah.
And like the ball skips on the turf.
Yep.
And like I really didn't enjoy playing there.
Yep.
I much prefer outside.
I'm sure. Yeah.
So I could really, that's the AC. You could really imagine each field is going to have its unique characteristics.
And even, I mean, when you're mentioning a turf field, a grass field, a
rain, snow.
Exactly. And like all those elements, that's normal though, right? Like that's football. That's real life. You're playing baseball. It's the same thing. Yeah. You're playing in Toronto with, the roof is closed today. The roof is open. All those other things, like it's different. But I think that's what makes it good. I don't know. Makes it interesting.
Describe winning the Super Bowl.
Wild. That was wild.
Give me more.
Yeah. I think that was my first year actually shooting highlights. That was my second season in the NFL. So we had one person, one of our producers left, and in the middle of the season, it was right before we went on our win streak. And so I was shooting some home games. I wasn't traveling. And then basically the whole team got COVID before the wild card game. So I say the whole team, a lot of the people that were shooting the game got COVID. So we were all at home. So we had to hire out people to shoot the game in Washington. So I watched that game at home, which was awesome. And then I watched the game at home. It was like the 2-week quarantine period. So I watched the game in New Orleans too at home. It was weird. It was a really weird time. And then I was fine and I was clear to shoot the game in Lambeau for the NFC Championship game, which was nuts. Like you wake up and you're putting on layers because it's cold outside. It's snow. There's snow outside. It was just like thinking back to it. I had like goosebumps thinking because it was like Lambeau NFC Championship game to go to the Super Bowl. Oh, and mind you, the Super Bowl is at home. It's in Tampa.
First time ever.
Crazy. And of course the Rams do it the next year, but that sucked. And then you pull up at the Super Bowl and it's the week before. There's normally like the media day and there's all these other things and people are doing that at home. The media was all online. It was all on Zoom. So they had this crazy setup at the facility, but not a lot of people were able to go to it. I wasn't able to shoot it. So it felt weird walking into the stadium being like, no, this is my home stadium. But there was so much more security. The whole stadium looked different. There was those LED things that were like right above the stands. The whole stadium looked different. And then like halftime, I was like, I'm staying out here. I want to watch the halftime
the
show.
weekend, right?
I've never been able to see
yeah.
from here. So like free concert on the field. Like, it was so dope. And then at that point at halftime, I think we were up like a decent margin. We won but 31-9. And I don't think we really did. The game was really won, started to win in the first half. And then the second half, it was just like the floodgates kind of were open, playing defensive, whatever. And yeah, it was nuts. I didn't know what to do because like you win the Super Bowl and you're like, oh my God, like this is crazy. That's one of 2 Super Bowls in the whole franchise in 50 seasons, whatever, 49 seasons, whatever it was at that point, right? You're like, and then I'm like a drinking from a water hose, whatever, from a fire hydrant, being like, there's so much going on. What do I do? And Social's asking me if I can shoot on my cell phone of like the players on the field because they couldn't have somebody down there because of COVID. So I was like walking up to players being like, what message do you have? And like I have these videos on my phone. I'm like, this is crazy. Like, what am I doing? I have like Jason Pierre-Paul. I have like Shaq Barrett on my phone being like, this is not, like looking around. And I'm like, then I have to shoot things. Tom Brady's lifting up the trophy. I'm like, what is happening? Like, what is going on? There's like that LeBron meme that's like, I can't believe this is my life. Like, it was just a weird
time.
Yeah. And then after everything is done, you're just like, all right, now back to work. And you have the busiest off season because it's just recapping. Like, you won the Super Bowl. It's like, what moments do we have? What video do we have? What can we capture? What did we capture? And it was just back to work, which is great. I got a Super Bowl ring. Like, I had to get sized for a Super Bowl ring.
Walk me through that.
Nuts. We're on the field and we get an email that's like, oh, next week everybody's getting sized for a Super Bowl ring. So you have to like show up at a specific time and like you drive in we have like the flag lot, which is the big flag in Tampa. There's a parking lot, whatever, right near it. So you drive through and they're like sizing your ring. And I didn't know which finger to get sized because I was like, I want to wear this forever, right? Like, I want to have this. It has my name on it, like my family's name on it. Like, I want to wear it forever. People were getting the ring finger. And I was like, I'm going to get my middle finger sized. I was like, why not? Right? Everybody has it on their one finger. So I was like, cool. If my fingers get fat, if I eventually blow up and be fat one day, like, I can wear it. I can wear it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I got it sized for my middle finger, and you had to pay a lot of money. It wasn't free, right? Like, you paid, I think it was, I don't know. There's conflicting reports. I think I paid like $2,500 for mine. But it's worth more than that, right? I think it's worth like 15 to 18 or something like that, maybe more than that.
Wow, that's really cool.
It has your name on it though, so it's like,
of course.
For me, I'm like, I don't care how much this thing costs. Like, I'm keeping this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was so cool.
Very
neat.
So
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, people can't critique if they don't have a Super Bowl ring.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to think of Tom Brady. Eventually, he's going to start measuring his thumbs.
Exactly.
He's run out of real estate.
Yeah.
You seen the picture where he has them on?
100%.
He's got a couple on the same finger.
Yeah.
If you look at that picture, his finger's turning purple.
100%.
You're not meant to wear that many.
No. And he came. I think was it Tuesday? There was like a documentary for all the.
Recently.
Yeah. It was. I think it was Tuesday. So there's a documentary. We had like a bunch of people come in, and he came in and talked at the end, and just like hearing his mindset of things, and like hearing how, as a competitor and all that, like, yeah, you got fiery, yeah, you do all that stuff, but he's got 7 rings. Like, can't knock him, right? The NFL's been around for how many years, and he's got all these rings to show for it. So it was really cool. It was really cool.
Super neat. So describe the energy in the stadium for the Super Bowl. How does that compare?
So there was significantly less fans, right? There was
because of COVID.
Because of COVID, yeah. There were more. I think it was half full, maybe. There was a lot of cardboard cutouts, so their thing was basically, it was very wild. I don't know if there were faces of people on the cardboard cutouts, but I don't know why I think that there were. But there was cardboard cutouts, so the stadium was significantly less loud. It wasn't as loud as it normally was. Our fans, it's tough in that stadium. There's a lot of, opposing fans that will come into our stadium, but like, our stadium gets loud. When we do something well, like, our stadium gets loud. So in my brain, I was so singularly focused on doing my job and trying to not mess up that I was like, I wasn't hearing anything.
Yeah, flow state.
Yeah, but I remember that it got loud when we, sacked or, Fournette's touchdown was massive. Gronk's 2 and then AB's, and like there was just so many moments that looking back, I'm like, it was really cool to see and to be there and experience it. But like, I'm only 5 years removed from it, and I'm like, I see video of stuff and I'm like, yeah, it was sick. I was there. It's like, oh yeah, wait, I was there. I was there. Like I experienced it. But yeah, it was a different energy for sure. It's more of a corporate event, honestly.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
like,
the feel?
yeah. Well, maybe not fully, but it's like maybe their diehard fans show up and they'll pay some crazy money. But a lot of the time it's like people giving away tickets. Oh, you can get box seats at the Super Bowl. Oh, you can win 2 tickets at the Super Bowl. So a lot of those things were just people being excited to be there. Maybe not like devout fans of the Bucs.
Celebrities.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, makes sense. So how much additional work regarding like the prep goes into a game that magnitude?
Mm-hmm.
Do you outsource more staff? Do you have like those like drop sites where you're like, all right, we just have to have like extra, or is it just like another day at work?
We had a smaller crew, believe it or not, for that.
Because of COVID?
No, just because of how our team makeup was at the time. So when I started in 2019, I was the intern. We had 3 full-time producers and then my boss, who's still here now. But one of those producers left, which allowed me to get a full-time position with the Bucs. So we were down 1 person, right, in 2019, and then we hired 1 other person, and he came on, I think, like towards the end of the 2019 season. So he was relatively new as well, and it was kind of just like another game, honestly. The setup that we had, Max was there. Actually, he was our intern and that year. So we had a similarly kind of like what we would cover on the game day. But it was odd. It was like we kind of covered it the exact same way. NFL Films hires more people. So I think they had 6 cameras there, maybe 7 cameras that were all shooting, and we got all of their footage too. So
cool.
Mic'd ups.
So that helps.
Yeah, they had, I think, 3 people mic'd up and then 4 or 5 other people on the field. So maybe it was even more than 6 or 7. So yeah, we just kind of operated like it was a normal day, which it absolutely was not.
Yeah. How did that change your perspective looking forward?
In terms of like how we covered things?
Just your experience. I mean, you went from like year 2,
mm-hmm.
Obviously you just had limited experience. It was only your second year, and now you're a Super Bowl producer, right? Yeah. How did that change going forward of like, did you have new skills or new outlook?
Yeah, I think the mindset of treating it like it's any other day also helps you to like keep focus, because it allows you to be like, cool, I've been at the top stage. I've been at an NFC Championship game. I've been at divisional games. I've been at wildcard games. I've been at the Super Bowl.
Pro Bowl.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Pro Bowl. I've been at, combines.
The
draft, like all of the things. I think that allows me to try to just keep that same mindset and try to keep, nothing is too high. Don't ride with the highs too high. Don't be too low with the lows. Maybe not so much lows and whatever, all those experiences, but like trying to keep that same mindset across everything. Treat everything like it's the Super Bowl. Like give all your effort into one thing every single time. Because then the one time you mess up, oh cool, I need that. And then, oh yeah, I was just treating it like it was any other game. It's like, it's not any other game. So I think like that's probably the biggest takeaway that I have with it is just kind of giving your all to everything as much as possible.
Do it like you've done it, which is something I've talked about. If people are listening to each episode, that comes up often. One of the greatest lessons my dad taught me, and we'll touch on the greatest one at the very end, but it's important to treat each experience like you've already been there.
Yeah.
It's great to be new and excited and fresh,
yeah.
but like you can't let that blur because you're not as sharp, you're not as prepared. So you've already answered it. You've done the wild card game, NFC Championship, Pro Bowl, and the Super Bowl. You also did the draft this last year, right?
Yeah.
Describe the energy of the draft, because you're dealing with rookies coming in, right?
Yeah.
Like these guys are like younger than us now.
Yep.
Describe that energy of the excitement and like the feeling in the room.
Yeah. I mean, you said rookies, but it's like even before that, right? Like they're college guys, they're college players. So when I was there, I did Detroit. So I think that wasn't this past year. It was whatever it was. It was
Recently.
Detroit. Yeah. It was, I think, 2 years ago. And that's a whole different world and something that I didn't really have experience with. I went to a small D2 school, and we didn't have any guys that went to the draft or anything like that we had to go to cover. We had players that are in the NFL. It's a small school, but like we still had some guys that were kind of dogs.
Sure.
So they make it to the league, but like I wasn't going to the draft and being like, I'm going to cover this. Our guy's going to get picked. I didn't go to an Alabama or like a big school like that. So seeing that world was interesting, was unique, because of the fact that they're more of the quick turn. They're more of the immediate gratification. Something happens, you cut it, you post it, it's out there. And like us, our workflow doesn't always work like that. And the draft, our guy wasn't there. Graham Barton was the person that we picked at that draft. He was at home. So like I showed up, I'm preparing, I'm going around Detroit shooting different things. If our guy gets picked, more likely than not, he's going to fly back on a jet next morning and show up at the Bucs facility and all that stuff. So I would have been with him. I would have went out there and shot and been like with him the whole time, shooting him, getting on the plane, all those things. But our guy wasn't there. So I pack up and go home. I have an early flight the next morning and I'm coming back to Tampa. And then the draft also was happening. So then I come back on Friday morning and I'm there until 1, 2 in the morning because when the draft ends, we still have to do content. We still have to, shoot everything. And it's an event, right? So like I'm so go. And I'm dead tired. I'm like,
wild.
Didn't sleep the night before, But yeah, so that draft was an interesting experience. That's the only draft that I've been on location for. Every other draft I've been at home at the facility.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Describe how you got the internship with the Bucs.
Yeah, it completely happenstance. I went on Teamwork Online. For anybody out there, Teamwork Online is the GOAT. It's like if you want to get a job in sports, it's not the only site, but at the time it was the only site that I knew of.
It's like Indeed.
Yes, exactly,
right, yeah.
exactly. It's for sports jobs. So I went on there and just kind of like put my resume in. I'll show you my resume or my reel after. It was abysmal. I don't know how I got the job that I'm in currently. So yeah, I just put my resume in and I talked to my now boss and interviewed well, whatever, I guess. I don't know. And I graduated in
19.
What was it in? Yeah, but I graduated in like, I don't know, April, May.
Yeah, it had to been the spring.
And I heard from him at the end of May. I was still living at school. I was living in like a house with 6 dudes, whatever. It was a gross house. And I was interviewing. I had like my suit on, like whatever. Interviewed and got the internship and moved down to Tampa. I started in July. So
Very neat.
Before that.
How long did the internship last for Tampa?
So interesting, right? The internship was only supposed to be through the season. So I was going to come back up to Pennsylvania, and that person left. The producer left at the end of the first preseason game. So that was probably early August. So I was there from July 15th to August something. And when she left, I was talking to a bunch of people, family, friends, all that stuff. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to put my resume in. Like, if they decline me, then cool, whatever. I didn't expect it anyways. And I put my resume in and got the full-time job. So although the internship was only supposed to last a season, I'm still here. So yeah, I mean, maybe I'm still on my internship. I have no idea, but yeah. So it was supposed to go during the season.
Hopefully, you're getting paid.
Yes, I'm not an intern.
Hopefully, it's not the internship. Yeah,
yeah.
Very cool. I mean, you got to shoot your shot.
Yeah.
So, a thought that I had when you mentioned your reel, like your resume.
Yeah.
I just thought of this when you were talking about it. Imagine you were to make your reel from like Little League, but you produced it like the NFL.
Yeah.
That would just be really creative.
Absolutely.
Where you're like, you can make it look like they're hitting crazy hard, and then you zoom out and you realize they're playing like T-ball or something.
Exactly.
But I think that'd be a creative look.
Yeah.
Because as long as they see the creativity and the aptitude and the drive, that's all that matters.
Yeah. And I mentioned that in a former my brother-in-law's podcast. Just mentioning like if you're capturing the things, right? Just create. And I think like it doesn't matter what you're shooting as long as the vision is there, the creativity is there. Like you can get whatever you do. Like this stuff is sick. You're going to see this at every level, right? If you're shooting on camcorders, if you're shooting on all this stuff, but you have 3 different angles, you have lights, but maybe they're just like a floodlight, right? Like if there are these lights that are above, whatever it is, if you're doing all those things and you're putting in that effort to make something look cool, or to, create a vision that is yours, but it's also like, that's what you want to get, that you're doing something in the job that you want to get. Like, that's how people see it. And they're like, oh, that's cool. I like that. We should bring him on, bring her on, whatever it is.
Yeah. The effort.
Exactly.
Definitely. So before this, you were an intern with the Pittsburgh Penguins in the NHL. How long were you an intern there?
That was actually an unpaid internship while I was still in school. That was my senior year. I think it was a semester long. So probably the same
16 weeks.
Yeah, probably the same, like whatever. However many months
4
that
months,
is.
yeah.
4 months, yeah. So that was a full season. Actually, no, their seasons are a little bit broken up. So I think I started at the beginning of their season, and then my internship ended halfway through their season. But then I got brought on full time with them.
With them too?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay.
With the Pens, I was like a part-time production assistant, I think is how it was kind of set up. But I did events for them. I covered practice. I did, locker room, post-practice locker room, post-game locker room, basically doing the exact same thing that I was doing, with now the interns that were in the next class. So that was really cool. And they're still my favorite NHL team. I didn't grow up liking hockey that much, but after working with them, it's like, yeah, they're my team for life.
That's awesome. Sure. Yeah. How did hockey compare to football? How does it compare for work, for film?
Yeah. It's different. Expectations are a little bit different. There was an intern that was with us with the Bucs. Now he's with the Colorado Avalanche, and I talked to him quite a bit, and their expectations and what he's doing in his role. Even talking to Max in basketball, like everything has their own expectations and their own industry standards. Football is always, without disrespect to the other leagues, but like football's king, right? So like more eyes are going to be on that. So expectations are going to be different. In hockey, in basketball, in soccer, innovation is key. And I think with hockey, it's even more so because it's like, I don't know, it's a European sport. A lot of the people that are, in the league aren't from the US. They're from all over. So it's like trying to humanize them, trying to connect them with a different fan base. But it's also like always highlighting the players, right? Cool cities, like really cool cities that some of these NHL teams are in. So it's like, cool, highlight the different things that are unique about that league. So it did compare in a sense in terms of responsibilities, like the post-game locker room, you're shooting practice, you're shooting the game, you're editing, trying to get things quick. Goals are a little bit different because it's like you play for so long and a goal happens, you're like, oh my God, this is awesome, right? Trying to highlight those moments. Whereas like a first down, you might get as much cheer for a first down as you get for a touchdown, right? Like in all actuality.
Yeah.
So trying to get those moments, I think that's where it's a little bit different, but in a lot of ways, it's relatively the same.
How'd you enjoy your time with Penguins?
Loved it.
Good experience?
Yeah, I love the Pens. I mean, the people that I learned from, the jobs that I was doing. I'm sure if I go back now, it's like it's just work. But like when I was doing it, I was like, this is so sick. And I was not getting paid for it. And I was driving an hour from my school to Pittsburgh 3 times a week and not getting paid. And I'm like, when I tell people that, I'm like, that's so dumb. Like, why would you do an unpaid internship? I was like, that's what got me to this point. And like shooting some of these guys. I'm like, I shot Sidney Crosby. I was in the same locker room as Evgeny Malkin. Like I was being with all these people that are, Carl Hagelin and Phil Kessel and all these guys where I'm like, this is sick. Like, and now I'm at my spot and I'm like, yeah, I shot with Tom Brady. Like, that's cool. But like having that mindset of being like, I don't care what I'm doing. I just want to shoot stuff. I just want to like create content, capture content. Exactly.
Yeah.
This is sick. Like, no matter what you're doing, it's like if you're doing it for the first time, if you're doing it for the 100th time, like to try to keep that passion. And I look back at my career and I'm like, I want to keep that passion. Because like going to the locker room, I'm like, all these dudes, like they don't care about a camera. They're changing, they're getting in the shower or whatever it is. It's like, well, yeah, but I'm talking to this guy after he just had a 150-yard game, 2 touchdowns. It's like, that's sick. How'd that make you feel? Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's just a weird thing to ask, but capturing that is really cool.
Oh yeah.
That was long-winded, I know, but it was sick.
That's why I'm asking. I have not worked for the NHL or the NFL.
Yeah.
But that passion is what drives everything.
Yeah.
So like thinking back, I can't speak for everyone, but I think most people, when you look back, you described the honeymoon stage is what it was. It could have been with, a softball team or a soccer team or whatever. It was new to you, and that's what keeps it fun.
Absolutely.
But so often when you look back, it's probably when you're making the least amount of money that you probably had the most amount of fun.
Absolutely.
So like right out of high school, in between like jobs and college and stuff, I worked at a gun range.
Okay.
Minimum wage.
Yeah.
Loved it.
That sounds sick. Yeah.
Oh, it was great.
Yeah.
Legally, I wasn't old enough to buy a firearm at the
Right.
time, but I was old enough to own a firearm. It's very weird laws and things keep changing.
In Florida?
Yeah.
Okay.
Things keep changing. But like, so like at work, I was allowed to carry, but like I didn't own the gun.
Right.
Or like, I didn't buy it or whatever.
Right.
So yeah, like the coolest thing. Now, like looking back, I was like not making any money living at home. I was like still in college, but it was like a blast.
Absolutely.
Absolutely loved it.
Absolutely.
So, very, very neat.
Yeah.
So what did your time in the NHL teach you that you keep using today with the Bucs?
I think professionalism. I think that's the biggest thing. No matter who you are in an organization, like you're not any bigger than the next person. You know, I think that's a life lesson. I don't think it's just like a work life lesson. I think that if you treat everybody the same, like that's eventually going to help you in the future. And I'm not saying that like to use that to your advantage. And I'm not saying that as in a malicious way of being like, cool, yeah, I don't know who this person's going to turn into, but in a sense, it's like you're treating everybody the same because you want to be treated the same as anybody else. Like my parents will always say like, do unto others as you would do unto yourself, whatever. I don't know if they use the unto part. That's a little bit old, but
sure.
I think like all of that comes back to you. And I think that at the Pens, no matter who you were in the organization, no matter who you were in the franchise, like everybody treated each other with that same respect. Excuse me. And I think that definitely helped in terms of like when I got to the Bucs. I'm an intern, right? But a player isn't going to know that I'm an intern. Higher up doesn't know that I'm an intern. Like if I'm sending an email, I'm going to be professional in that email because like I don't know who's going to see that email. And that sounds so like such a small, minute thing of sending an email, but like if you treat somebody for like the easy like greeting and a goodbye or like a sincerely whatever it is, like that's gonna go a long way. People are gonna see that and be like, cool, that person cares about what they're doing. So I think professionalism is the main thing that I took away.
It's awesome. Do you miss anything from your time?
Yeah, I love Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is a great city, and I think that I love Tampa. Tampa is definitely a second home. Tampa, St. Pete, more so St. Pete, whatever, is more of like a second home. But I think like everything that Pittsburgh was about, like their fans care so much. No matter what, the Steelers, when we go back for the Steelers games, their fans just care so much. And I think that, not to say that our fans don't care here, but it's just like a different level. I mentioned the legacy organizations before. And I think like seeing Pittsburgh in general rally around their team.
Just Pennsylvania in total.
Yeah.
Think about Philadelphia.
Philly too. Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy, right?
They'll destroy their city. They're so happy, right? I think just legacy really wraps it up, or heritage, I guess, right?
Yeah, and that's one thing I really miss because it's like, showing up for a Tuesday game in the NHL is like huge, right? Like it's big time. It's the Penguins versus the Canadiens, or it's the Penguins versus like it doesn't matter. Like those games were treated differently. There's no parking anywhere. There's people, the streets are crawling with people. There's like the hot dog carts that are out there. And like there's, like all of the game day elements of, and there's also right downtown in Pittsburgh. So it's like a mecca. Like everybody flocks to that. I'm like romanticizing it because that's how like I felt. Like it was so sick. As a fan, as an employee too.
Awesome.
Yeah.
If you were to work for a different sport, what sport would it be? So not hockey, not football.
Right now, probably UFC. Probably like the combat fighting.
Cool. That'd be cool.
Yeah. The like the camps that they go through and like all of those things where it's more of you're building up, not for a season, right? You're building up for one moment, right? All of the days that if you don't work out one day, or if you're in the gym for 8 hours, whatever it is, all of those things, if they're fighting in, Colombia, if they're fighting all these other places around the world that they want to fight in, they travel different places, going to different gyms. All that stuff is really cool. I've been watching a little bit more of that content recently, and just watching that stuff is really cool for me. And then like fight night is just dope. Like, I don't know, it's just different.
Yeah. I didn't expect that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking like I was thinking like basketball or
Yeah.
maybe baseball or soccer. So,
Yeah.
Have you worked anything internationally? Because the Bucs played in Germany.
Yeah, Bucs played in Germany. So I shot there
Pretty recently. So you did.
Yeah, I shot there.
Cool.
Which was cool. That stadium was nuts. Stadium was nuts. They when they played Country Roads, John Denver, and at one of like our breaks, and the whole stadium was singing it. I can show you videos. Like, took videos of that, and like it was nuts, and it was crazy.
You described in Atlanta, you'll be back the same day.
Yeah.
How long were you guys in Germany for?
So we went out, I think 3 days before the game. We left right after the game, though. Like
same day?
Same day.
Jeez.
Same day.
That's crazy.
And it was at night there. It was an early game. I think it was a 9 o'clock game, 10 o'clock game in the US. And I think it was, I don't know, whatever. I think it started at 5, something there.
Couldn't tell you the time.
I know. I can't either. And I was there. I have no idea. I think it was 6 hours. So maybe it wasn't. It was bright out when the game started, but it was definitely dark when the game ended. Yeah, we left the same day, and we had to go through the airport there. So we had to like go through a terminal, and then I think we got on the tarmac. It was yeah, that was a blur too. That was we went in like the duty free. Like when you're in a have you flown internationally?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
It was like the duty free store where it's like you don't have to pay
the tax free stuff.
The tax free stuff.
Yeah.
So we were going through, and we all were working, players, staff, whatever it is. We were all working, and we're like going down this long corridor. There's like the airport. It's so late that the airport is closed. Like there's nobody, and we're just walking through.
Oh, so you couldn't even buy anything anyway?
No. So we could.
Oh.
So there was one store, a duty-free store that had a cashier there. One cashier. There was, I'm not even kidding you, all of us blocked this store. People were buying alcohol. People were buying like those little Steins. They're buying German chocolate. I bought a shot glass that was a Stein. So you like flip the top up and it's like a little shot glass.
That's cool. Yeah.
All these things. And then we get on the plane and go back that same night. It was really cool. It was wild.
Wow.
Yeah.
Would you consider working for a club that traveled often? Kind of like a Manchester or something, where like you would be international all the time, or would you kind of enjoy being more of a?
I don't know. I don't want to say no because like I haven't experienced it.
Yeah. Because just imagine that every week, every couple weeks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
Yeah, because eventually it just becomes work.
Yeah.
Just like any job, right?
Right. For a lot of those teams, though, I feel like, I mean, you mentioned Manchester, right? Like, they're like in the English Premier League. It's like a lot of those, they might bus, they might fly, like all those different places. I'm assuming a lot of them fly, though, right? Like
that was my assumption.
Makes sense.
I'm not on the team.
It might be a lot of short flights, like almost like the domestic flights for us. Because I don't know, I'm not a geography person, but like we're flying from here to Seattle. That's like flying from like, it's not as far over there. Everything is kind of like condensed.
I'm trying to remember my flights because for the honeymoon, we were in Portugal and Italy.
Yeah.
Honestly, it was still like 3 or 4 hours.
It was.
Like,
okay.
It was still a while. I mean, it depends where you're going and stuff.
For sure. Yeah.
But yeah, I couldn't imagine doing that so frequently.
It was fun for a little bit. Like when we go to Seattle and we go to LA, I try to keep myself on East Coast time. It's like I'll go to sleep super early over there and then wake up super early. So when I get back, the jet lag isn't too bad.
Gotcha.
Tough, right? Like can't do that all the time. If you're out going to restaurants and stuff like that, you can't do that. But the travel would be tough. I don't know. Like I said, I don't want to say no, but you never know.
Could you see yourself filming outside of sports? Maybe like a feature film or something like that, documentary?
Yeah. I don't know so much of like a documentary. I would want to be on a team that would do that.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm necessarily like a documentary filmmaker type person. I like the team aspect. I like the everybody pulling weight and helping one product at the end of the day. And that's why I like our team. Our team is small, but we all help each other and we all push towards one goal. If it's a video, if it's a merch video, whatever it is, like I think that pushes it forward. But I would absolutely be open to doing stuff outside of it.
Very cool.
Yeah.
How much do you think the individual sport culture influences how you're filming? So, like, you kind of described how football is filmed very different than the UFC.
Right.
Break that down because you now have done hockey and the NFL.
Yeah.
How would you describe them?
I think it's a lot of, like you said, like culture based.
Yeah.
I think that the like NBA, I talked to Max. I talked to Max when he was in the NBA a lot, just kind of like picking his brain. He was doing really sick stuff with the Houston Rockets, like really sick stuff. And that's because there was a desire by the fan base to do that sick stuff. And I think that the NFL, there's a little bit different. It's still culture, but it's like deep rooted, legacy culture, whatever it is. The NFL has been around for a while, but the NBA is like the flashy pop culture.
Yeah.
Footwear, every player like seemingly has their own shoe.
Mhm.
All of that stuff is different because it's more individual based. It's maybe not so much team based. Soccer is a little bit of the same way. I think like one big player, like I'm thinking, I don't know why Jude Bellingham pops in my brain. I don't know if you're a soccer guy, but like
I couldn't name
I
everyone.
like Tottenham or something. And like one player can carry the whole team in some ways because they're pass the ball, all this stuff. Same thing in football. Justin Jefferson with the Vikings, or like Jamar Chase, and then like, well, you have Joe Burrow, you have all these people. So I think that aspect of things is different, how you capture it, because it's more individual based. But in the grand scheme of things, I think that it's like the fans too. Like the fans in different cities are going to crave different content than here. The Dolphins might try to capture more of the beachy stuff, and then the Vikings or Packers fans want to see just coverage because they just love the team, right? Like they just care about the team so much they don't care what they do. So trying to connect with that fan base, I think, is different in different sports.
Do you have to do different research when you go to these places?
In term like in different cities,
Yeah, because it's not that you're catering to those fans, but
Yeah.
like you're like, okay, I got to be aware of the towel in Pittsburgh. Or,
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of these things are really common because like
Yeah.
we're both fans. But
Right.
are there things you have to prepare for that you research?
I don't think so. I think that if I was better at my job, I would in terms of like trying to capture specific things. Not better at my job, but like if I wanted to, if I had a desire to capture those things, I think definitely. Um, I don't think we focus too much on other cities because then it takes us away from our goal of
Sure.
capturing our team.
Yeah.
Germany, for example, we did capture because that was a unique area.
Mhm.
We went and did a market tour with Rondé Barber and Mike Allstott, which was really sick. So like went around and like drank a beer, had like a liverwurst or whatever, and then like went to another place and had this really cool like potato thing dish. And then they went to like a bakery and had German bake. It was really sick. But beer at every stop. Like it was just beer. So we do stuff there, and we did have to do some research. We had to clear things with the NFL. They had like their media marketing agency come out and like help shoot us,
Law
shoot
enforcement
it with it.
probably.
No, we didn't have any law enforcement, believe it or not. We had a lot of team people that were there with us, like marketing side and video side too, that were just kind of like there. So they were around, but nobody really knew.
Yeah, it's
like,
just different sport.
Yeah, they were like, "What are you guys shooting?"
Yeah.
Like we're shooting with two NFL greats. And I don't care about the NFL.
Yeah.
Like
Different culture.
soccer. Like what are you talking about?
Huge. Yeah.
So, but city by city, we haven't really done. We don't really like the shoot different things or like plan to shoot different things over in different cities.
Cool. Yeah, this is from an outsider looking in.
Absolutely.
I'm thinking about like I've never done this, so like what would I have to be prepared for?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you could. I mean, there's definitely a lane for that. Like there's absolutely cool. We can take somebody to go shopping in New York City.
And it could depend on the sport.
Yeah.
Because it could be very different if you're filming LeBron, is he going to go sneaker shopping?
Yeah.
Or is he going to do this? Or,
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
Pretty cool. So you talked a little bit about Cal U.
Mhm.
It's in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
What did you major in?
Communication.
Communication.
So radio and TV was my focus.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
So did a lot of research.
Yeah.
You worked your way up. You worked in the school newspaper.
Mhm.
You worked on, I believe it's CU TV.
Yep. CU TV. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
You worked from contributor to sports editor to editor in chief.
Yeah.
Explain what those roles were, even if it's at the college level.
Mhm.
Explain what they do.
Yeah.
And then how that helps you with what you do now.
So, I mean, a lot of my resume, it's kind of cool. Like a lot of my resume started from like lower on the totem pole and then like kind of working my way up. So I think when I was a contributor with Cal Times, That was our newspaper. So we basically just like cover whatever they need. So we would go in these meetings and everybody, their sports editor was there, the entertainment, the news, the editor in chief. I think we had 3 or 4 roles. They would all be like, cool, we're going to focus on the Oscars. We're going to focus on, the Eagles are playing the Cowboys this week. Can we do a recap of the game and all those different things? So I was a contributor. I was just, oh yeah, I'll cover it. I'll watch something. I'll write it. I'll watch something. I'll write it. So when I moved to sports editor, I was making those decisions. Hey, I want to cover this X, Y, and Z. We have a track and field meet. I need somebody to go to that, cover that football game, basketball game, wrestling, whatever it is. So I would make those decisions. And then when I was editor in chief, I was putting it all together. I was kind of directing people in a sense, leading and working with my supervisor at the time of being like, cool, we need X, Y, and Z covered, taking it into InDesign and creating it all and putting it all together. I think it was either InDesign, it was something in Adobe, and putting it all together. And then I'd have to work with the print company to send off all the things. They would send me a proof. I would approve it. And then we'd have to go to press. And then I'd have to go around and deliver the, bundles to like the newspaper stands around campus. So we'd have like 13 or 14 different places. And then when the newspaper came out on Fridays, I would have to go deliver the newspaper.
It was once a week, Fridays?
Yeah, once a week.
Very neat.
And I was a paper boy. You know what I mean? Like it was cool.
Someone's gotta do it.
Yeah, and it was I was riding around in my car and whatever, the first car. I was so sick and driving and giving newspapers out and stuff. So it was definitely started from the bottom of the totem pole and kind of just working my way to where I eventually wanted to be, was editor in chief, and I got that, and it was cool. Badge of honor for sure.
Very neat. How do you enjoy writing?
I love it. I mean, I haven't written an article in a while. I like to journal every once in a while. Creative writing though, I haven't really done too much, but I think the process of starting from scratch and then working your way up to a final piece is very similar to video and storyboarding and doing all those things. You have your theme, your idea, your topic, and then you're trying to funnel it all down into a cohesive thing. And I think with video, you're at an event, you're looking at the event, being like, what's the storyline? What's the focus? And focusing and making a cohesive thing. So I think there's parallels there.
Yeah. It's satisfying.
Yeah.
And gratifying to see it come
together.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
To a completion.
Yeah.
Would you consider going back to journalism?
Yeah. I think
there.
Yeah, I said it before. It's like I don't want to say no to anything, and I think I started with that mindset. So like, why switch it up? I think it's a thankless, journalism and writing is still important, right? But a lot of the times people just scan stuff.
Yeah, it's overlooked.
Yeah, and like newspaper in general is almost obsolete now. It's like almost all written. And I think like that would scare me going back to journalism. But at the same time, like I liked it. I had a love for it before. And I wouldn't say no to it now for sure.
What was your favorite subject to write about?
Sports for sure.
Sports, okay. I mean, I kind of saw it coming, but if you hit me with like, you loved local community stuff, I don't know. Couldn't
I mean, that stuff is cool because I think like highlighting smaller stories. At the newspaper that I was at, we kind of just like covered things to cover them. It sounds hilarious,
you just needed material.
Yeah. And so that's what we would do. And I was announcing at the time for our TV station, CUTV. So I was behind the mic. So I had all the prep stuff. I looked at all the stats beforehand, and now I look back and I'm like, God, I don't want to watch this. Like, I don't want to see myself on the, like announcing and stuff, because it was just a different time of my life.
Sure.
But it was cool. And then after I was done announcing, to go back and writing the story, and I was like, I have all of this stuff at my fingertips. I know everything that I'm talking about. And I think that helped kind of put me in a spot where I was a little bit more prepared. But going into other stories where like a local story and you're having to ask those questions, you're walking around with your recorder and talking to different people, talking to a baseball coach, talking to whatever it is, trying to get a story that is interesting, that people actually want to read. So I think that's where the connective tissue kind of forms in, but it was just as cool. Like it was really fun.
The more I do this, the more I realize I've kind of gotten into journalism.
Absolutely.
Without really defining it, right?
Yeah.
Because I was telling you about my sister. She majored in journalism and then went more the graphic design side.
Yeah.
I don't have a degree in journalism,
but
but it's really, we already talked about the passion.
Yeah.
You see how much research I've
Absolutely,
done.
yeah.
And you can enjoy reading these notes when we're done.
I love it. Yeah.
But I mean, I was pulling things up. How would you compare being in front of the camera to now be behind it full time?
It's weird. It's weird. And not in a bad way. It's just, it's different. I think that in being in front of the camera, you have to be on your P's and Q's all the time, right? Like if you're not prepared, like people will know you're not prepared. If you're, setting all this stuff up, if you don't have something, it's on you. Like, and I think the same thing can be said, right? Like you look like a dummy if you don't say the person's name right, or if you're not getting a stat right, or if you jumble over your words, if you don't have a certain camera angle that you want, or if your audio goes bad or whatever it is, like those things are just as important. And I think that for me, understanding that and being like, cool, I'm behind the camera, I can just chill. Like I don't have to worry about it. It's like, no, that's just as important. Like if you're not pressing record, like my one friend, Steve, I was doing an interview and he was behind the camera and
This is in school?
Yeah, this is in school. And do you know who Mike Stud? Like the
oh
artist,
yeah, musician?
Mike. So he's like one of my favorite musicians now. And he like rebranded and like did all stuff.
Yeah, now it's just Mike.
Exactly. When I was in college, he came to my school and I interviewed him, right? I have pictures, all these things. And he forgot to press record on the mic, on the camera. So we didn't have that interview at all. And I was like, looking back, I'm like, I was in front of the camera. I didn't have to worry about anything, right? I'm asking questions. I'm doing all these things. I'm working. I'm writing a newspaper story. I was writing for the newspaper at the time, but I was also doing a reporter for the TV station. He was behind the camera. His job was just press record, make sure it was frame right, press record. And like he didn't press record. So for me, I'm like, you might think that the responsibilities are a little bit different, but they're symbiotic, right? Like they work together. And I think that that's where the weird comes into play, because I thought that one side of things had it a little bit easier than the other side, and it's the same.
Yeah.
They work in tandem.
Yeah, they coincide.
Exactly.
Because some people have asked me like, oh, what's it like being in front of the camera and stuff?
Yeah.
It's pretty different because I get to control what's going out.
Right.
So I can like chop things up if I needed to or wanted to.
Absolutely.
But it's also not live.
Yep.
I feel like it's very different when you're like reading a teleprompter and like that just, it doesn't feel real.
Yeah.
And I think that's why legacy TV is really changing.
Mm-hmm.
Streaming's a big reason, but like podcasts, this is way more relatable.
Absolutely.
People can tell it's not scripted.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got notes, but I could ask you anything I could think of.
Right.
It's very different if I'm just like reading a teleprompter and it's not
you feel like a robot then.
You feel like a robot, but you're also perceived as a robot.
Exactly what I'm saying. Like when somebody's watching it,
but it's
not
both
human.
sides. I'm like, that has to be miserable to just read the screen. Like they don't have any original thought.
Yep.
And then when things go off script, you can really tell because they're just like really flustered.
They're just going, yeah.
Yeah. But like I said before, wherever this conversation goes, you
absolutely
kind of enjoy it.
Absolutely.
So I've got a couple more questions left. You kind of answered you don't write too frequently.
I don't. I journal whenever I'm like feeling down or whatever, right? Like I'll write some stuff down. But in terms of like creative writing, I haven't.
When you would do creative writing,
yeah,
what route would that go? Would it be sport related or
yeah, probably more sport.
I think fiction?
Yes. Well, sometimes when I would do that, but a lot of the stuff that I would write, it would be nonfiction for the newspaper and things in that same realm. News stories and doing all that stuff. But when I was talking about like the romanticizing like a game day in the NHL, that's the stuff that I would enjoy because you can capture more of the hot dog carts and the smells wafting and the people walking up and you're seeing the Mecca and you're like all those other things, like trying to capture that stuff is fun for me because I'm, as much as I say that I'm not creative when, I'm behind a camera, or this is more so stuff that I say to either myself thinking about it or talking about like close friends and family, whatever. And they're like, oh, you're so creative. I'm like, I'm not at all. And then for sure. And then when I break it down, it's just like, cool. Somebody's sitting at a desk or in an office job and they're just typing away. Cool. 5 o'clock, 5:30 hits and they're just going home. My job is a lot different than that. But I think my mind is creative in like making up, romanticizing sports. And I would read this art author. I don't remember his name right now. I had it on the tip of my tongue. He'd make like short books and it would just be all over the place. There'd be football, baseball, golf, soccer, all these other books. And they were short, easy to read stuff. And I think that's where I finally, or that's when I first started to kind of think that way and think through situations and try to make up situations that I resonated with. And I think that's the stuff that kind of connects me with sports.
Kind of like a magazine.
Yeah.
The way I was thinking of it. Like short articles. That's how I like to read personally. I'm notorious for starting books. I'm great. I can start every book in the world. Pretty bad at finishing them.
Yeah.
Naval Ravikant, he's a very famous dude.
Okay.
He's been on a couple podcasts like Joe Rogan stuff.
Okay.
He's famously said you only need a handful of books in your whole lifetime. Mm-hmm. And then you read them, you get what you need, and then you put them back down.
Right.
And then you come back to them at a later date. I didn't realize I was doing that. So I could definitely pull, say I just got it from Naval or I was doing it before without realizing it.
Yeah. That's good. That's good mindset. I mean, do you read a lot of like, I like gravitated towards like self-help books or that stuff, or do you read more like fiction, nonfiction stuff?
No, self-help. So you'll see my weekly posts that are still coming out too. Yep. So that's definitely what I focus on when I write. I just love reading. I like getting to what I need and then kind of moving on.
Right.
So like my dad loves to read. Mm-hmm. He'll tell me, he's like, the worst biographies are when you tell me like Tuesday at 3:42 p.m. is when I whatever. And he's just like, you don't really have to get that nitty gritty. Right. That's where you're going to lose people.
Right.
So when it's really digestible, I'm not trying to just like throw like short form content, everywhere. But it's like reading a magazine or even a newspaper. 3,000 words is a little long for an article, but if you keep to like that 1,200 words, people read it and they move on.
Yeah. But I think the short form works though. Like we were talking about content before, the variability of it, right? Like you have all those posts and then if you create something that's bigger, right? Exactly. And then you're like, cool, all of those things leads you to that one thing. That YouTube link leads you to the full thing.
Yeah, it's a funnel.
Exactly.
And there's greater funnels working on that people will find out eventually.
Here we go.
Right? One thing I thought to tell you, one of the best books I really did finish, it's called Thought Revolution.
Okay.
And his name is William Donius. He goes by Bill.
Okay.
And long story, he was in St. Louis. He worked his way up the corporate ladder, found he wasn't really happy. And he was going to therapy and they taught him, it's called intuitive writing.
Okay.
He didn't invent it or anything, but what do you currently write with? What hand? What do you normally? Right hand?
Yeah, normally.
It doesn't matter if you're lefty or righty, but intuitive writing is using the opposite hand.
Okay.
And it's using the opposite hemisphere of the brain. And the different sides of the brains do different things. So right hand actually uses the left hemisphere.
Okay.
It's flip-flopped.
Right.
So the left side is very logic, math, very like rigid stuff. And then left hand is the right side. That's where like creativity, music, art, abstract thought, stuff like that comes from.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter if you're normally right-handed and you do left or left versus right. You're just using the different side of your brain.
Got it. Okay.
More so than you would without it. Like how often do I write with my left hand?
Right.
But you'll actually get different answers. And he gives you these prompts. I took this to a whole nother level. Yeah. I would love to interview Bill Donius. I would absolutely love to. Yeah. So he poses a question. We could do this afterwards. I'm not trying to spoil it now that you kind of know stuff, but I took it a step further. I wrote all of my notes on the book with my opposite hand.
Yeah.
Because
like you can write with your left hand?
With enough time, you'll have a different font. So like it's been a while and I'm trying to get back into it. Like you see how much I'm writing.
Yeah.
But like I'll see my writing and I'll be like, that's mine, but it's left-handed.
Right.
Because you might seem like, I don't know whose handwriting that is. I'm like, oh, that's still mine. Yeah. But like this is what it looks like right-handed and that's what it looks like left-handed.
It's trained too. It's taught, right?
But like eventually, dude, I was getting pretty quick. Not nearly as quick as right-handed, but like it was almost better because I had to focus more.
Right.
And like as a right-handed person, I'm not used to like my ink smearing because
on the other
these
side,
are just left-handed problems, right?
Yeah.
But you literally come up with different thoughts. So remind me after the show.
Yeah, please do.
We'll do that. But the book is incredible. It's called Thought Revolution.
Thought Revolution.
There's a subtitle. It's Unlocking Your Inner Brain, something like that. It's a very short read.
Okay.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
This guy was so talented. He actually left the corporate banking. He worked all the way up. Made this bank really, really successful in St. Louis.
Yeah.
He left, put out this book, and now he actually goes around and he's like a consultant. So Disney has contracted him out.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I can't remember, it's either Kawasaki or maybe Suzuki. One of the manufacturers with like engines and stuff. They're running out of creativity, juice and ideas.
Right.
And they brought him in as a consultant. he like taught them this
intuitive. You would see intuitive writing.
Intuitive writing, yeah.
Intuitive writing.
And we'll do it after this.
Yeah. It's gonna be so bad.
But no, it's okay. But it sparks way new ideas.
Yeah.
And it's ideas that you already have, but they're kind of suppressed because we're always doing things with our right hand.
Got it.
But if you notice, a lot of really, really artistic people are left-handed.
Right.
So like Tom Cruise, at least in the movies, he's always shooting left-handed.
Yeah.
But a lot of other, like Jimi Hendrix, left-handed. And he's famous for playing a right-hand guitar upside down backwards.
Right.
Ringo Starr, left-handed. And it's like, that's why they had to play these instruments. Like I just learned about Ringo Starr.
Right.
He has like, they call it swing. And I don't know too much about music. You can see what I'm doing. But like he has this weird swing because he's playing a right-handed kit, left-handed.
Wow.
So like
he has to move.
He's not going like clockwise.
Yeah.
He's freaking left-handed. He's got to go backwards. So like people are like, he's a genius. And he's admitted, he's like, you could think I'm a genius, but he's like,
I just have to do it.
I had to use the tools that I had.
Yeah.
So like Jimi Hendrix is definitely a genius. So is Ringo Starr. But Jimi Hendrix is like, I couldn't afford a left-hand guitar. So I just had to figure it out. Yeah. You know, he's left-handed.
I didn't know that. I think like the hemispheres of your brain doing different things too. Like that's
I love psychology.
Yeah.
We've had a couple therapists on the show. The goal is to bring more doctors and like really dive in.
Right.
And I'm not like the pro in these fields, but if I could bring in a pro, that's why I brought you in.
Journalism. That's
exactly
the journalism side of things.
What we're doing.
That's you just talk and get those stories.
I only a couple other questions left.
Yeah.
If you could teach a college course, what would it be?
Probably the same courses that I learned. The same courses. I thought about that going back to school and doing stuff like that. I think that with all of the interns that come through the Bucs, I try to like stay in touch with all of them and try to, see where they're going and, how they're doing and all those things. And I think that a lot of that care that I have to pass down the knowledge that I got from those people that are in positions like myself today, to give that back and to try to help that to the next wave of people.
You're a mentor.
Yeah. And I really like the relationship that I created with Max and the relationship that I created with Quentin. He's with the Avalanche, and then our last intern with Javon. All these guys that I was able to kind of just like help them in any way, whether it's just like listening to them, if it's giving creative feedback. I don't really see myself as a person that can give creative feedback quite yet because I'm still learning at everything that I'm doing. But I think that because of the position that I'm in, it allows me to at least just like give input and just kind of like just try to help them. And I think that that's where my idea, or that's why where my desire is to just be like, yeah, like I don't want to go back to school. I had great people that were supervisors.
Would you teach?
Yeah, I probably would. Yeah, I probably would. And like anything, I did audio classes. I did video classes. I learned psychology. We learned about all these other people in what made communication, like what formed communication from the beginning. That stuff didn't really help me. I wasn't doing a speech class because like I can't grade speeches, right? Like we had speech 101, and I'm like, I'm not gonna do speech 101 now. Like that's crazy. I would do audio, video stuff. I would do all those things. But yeah, I mean, I feel like just impacting other people and trying to give back, like people gave back to me.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that go into film that people don't realize. So like the speech, etiquette, how to pronounce things, vocal warm-ups. I mean, these are things I learned in high school. I ended up in drama class because I was interested in the girl that had the class.
Hey, that's how it starts.
Yeah, they both gave us the same class. I was like, yeah, I'll keep it. And my dad worked at the school, and he's like, do you want drama? I was like, I'll keep it for now. Yeah. And then she breaks up with me after we start dating.
Yeah. And you're stuck in the class.
Well, I was stuck in the class, but she's like, you wouldn't stay in this class. I was like, watch me. Yeah. So then that's why I stayed. And the teacher was great. So I actually ended up doing 3 years of drama. Okay. And like, I really didn't perform. I like the teacher, but like, I'm not like the, Shakespearean guy or anything. Yeah. But like, I learned so much. Vocal warm-ups. How am I going to be prepared to talk in a microphone for 2 hours? Right. Like, these are things I'm still doing. I learned this stuff, 15 years ago. Or absolutely. Whatever it was, right? Yeah. So it's really unique.
But I think going back to you saying that, like, you didn't perform or whatever it is, this is performance.
It is now, right?
You know what I mean? Like that's like, I didn't have any sort of, drama background or whatever it is. People say that I'm dramatic, but like, I didn't have any of those things that, I didn't practice any of those things, but being in front of the camera or having a desire to be creative and to, show that side, because there's people, people that are kind of like not dull, but like they're not as like,
not everyone can do this.
Exactly.
It's a very unique skill set.
Exactly.
Of all the stuff that I've done or want
to, right?
Yeah.
And I think like it shows more, as much as I was saying, like, I'm not creative. If you can sit there and talk and your brain is just going, like, I didn't have a script for any of this stuff. I didn't know the questions you were going to ask. I knew one question. I didn't know any of the questions you were going to ask me. So like to have that ability to prepare and be like, cool, what's interesting as an interviewer? What's interesting?
You're extremely creative.
Yeah.
But creative people often overlook it.
Yeah.
So I was going to address this in a couple minutes. I want to thank Richard Seidel and the Morean Art Center. They're in downtown St. Pete, Florida. They're letting us use this space. This is another episode, so go back and check out Richard Seidel's interview. He's a professional artist. He lives inside this art studio. They have a gallery downstairs. They offer classes. We were talking with him earlier today. He's letting us use the space. And when you're surrounded by creativity all the time, you just don't realize. Like, there's paint everywhere. If you see these tables behind us, there's literally paint on the ceiling above us. I don't know if you saw that earlier. We're just so used to it, right? Yesterday, I was talking to a World War II veteran. Hopefully, I'm trying to get him on the show. I already have another one on the show, so you'll have to check out that episode. But it's just like, I was talking to my wife. I'm like, you'll not guess who I talked to. And now she really can't guess because it's just like anybody. I was like, I got that World War II veteran. I was talking to him on the side of the road. Like, I just happened to see him and pulled over and chatted with him. So yeah, creativity is something else.
Yeah, and the stories too, because like, I mean, that veteran, like, I'm sure he's seen some stuff.
Yeah,
like
World War II.
Right. Or like, I mean, but the same thing, and this is a stretch. I understand this is a stretch, but like Richard, right? Talking to him, how he started painting. When he just mentioned me, he was like, I was like, oh, when did you start painting? He was like, forever. Like,
he's done 5 international art residencies.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Spain, Italy, England, Ireland, France.
Yeah, like, and the stories that he has, how his path has changed, how his,
you got to listen to that episode.
How his idea, I absolutely will now. But like all of those things that have kind of changed to where he is now. And like when we were in his studio and he was just like, oh yeah, like I don't really think too much of, like, that's the type of stuff that when I create a video and somebody watches, they're like, oh, that's really cool. It doesn't happen often, but they're like, oh, that's really cool. And then I'm like, oh yeah, it's like, it's not much. Same thing.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, then I'm thinking, and I have been thinking since we had that conversation, I was just like, yeah, there's similarities there. Wild. And like the creativity aspect of things, it's, I don't know. That was just some fleeting thoughts that were flowing through my brain, but it's pretty cool.
It's true.
Yeah.
Last couple questions.
Yeah.
What is a major goal of yours for the next 3 years?
The goal is constantly changing.
What's it right now?
I don't really know if I have a defined one. I think more so now it's like finding the thing that makes me happy, that fulfills me. There's been a lot of change in my life over the last few years. And I think that now it's more so. Before, maybe it was, monetarily driven. It was focusing on, well, how can I advance? How can I get that next job title? How can I get that next thing? And now it's just like, just trying to be happy and trying to find that happiness in things. When there's constantly work going around you and you can easily get caught up in all those things, you can lose like your personality. You can lose your drive for specific things. And I think it's just like, just finding the thing that makes me happy. And that's to say, I don't know what's currently, that thing. So I think just a lot of self-discovery and self-reflection.
Well, I think you know what it is right now. You don't know what it's going to be in 3 years.
Exactly.
But what would you say is making you happy right now?
I think like just telling stories of people. And I think that can be at an event, that can be a player, that can be, spreading the name of somebody at work that's been doing a really good job, whatever it is. I think like just telling the stories and bringing up the people that are around me. I think that's what makes me happy right now. And that's where I said like sports, out of sports, doesn't matter. Just trying to continue to do that and finding that next thing that's different, unique, right? Like I've been doing the same thing for so long. It's trying to switch up, but not switch up, not being able to tell those stories and kind of shed light on things like that.
Cool.
Yeah.
So speaking of creativity, I didn't tell you this beforehand. Yeah. I don't tell any guest before, but eventually when there's enough episodes, people are going to know what's coming.
Yeah.
So I write all my notes in Field Notes. Phenomenal brand. I would love to work with them. They're all made in the US. They're really, really cool. Another designer makes these, Aaron Draplin. So I give every guest their own.
Okay.
So this one's a little bit smaller. They teamed up with East Fork. They're a pottery company. I think out of the Carolinas. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
They make a bunch of different editions and stuff.
Yeah,
really there's a bunch of stuff on the back. But they're really cool. Yeah. They fit in your pocket. I find myself writing more and more frequently.
I appreciate that.
So that's for
cool.
you.
That's really cool.
And I use field notes constantly.
Yeah,
I'm
this
using
is
them
sweet.
all the time. So
that's really cool.
Each guest gets them.
That's really nice.
Of course.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Of course, man.
That's really cool.
So a couple thank yous again, Richard Seidel and the Morean Art Center in downtown St. Pete, Florida. Really want to thank them. I've already filmed here previously, so please go back and check out Richard's episode, previously recorded. And they offer classes. They've got a free gallery downstairs, and they do other types of events for like holidays and stuff. So definitely check them out. And the last question is the motto to the podcast. It's my dad's greatest lesson. It's never waste mistake. And it's poetic because he doesn't say never waste your mistake or someone else's mistake. It could just be any one that you find.
Yeah.
And I've learned it, or excuse me, I've used it countless times throughout my life, and I still use it to this day. So the last question for every episode is, what is one mistake you have not wasted?
Yeah. When you posed this question to me earlier, I was trying to think of like negative things, quote unquote, that have kind of happened in my life. But then I was like, mistake can be anything, like a growth mindset, right? Like anything isn't, a failure, right? Anything isn't something that you're like in the moment, oh man, like I lost at this, right? I think for the growth mindset and that growth mentality for me, when I started as an intern, I was just like, yes to everything. Cool, big project, small project, whatever it is. And then I realized in that moment that if I said yes to everything, then I'm stretching myself thin and I'm not able to give myself everything to that one thing that I had on my plate. And I think that that's something that kind of branched out to other aspects of my life. If I'm a people pleaser for sure. Like if people around me are happy, then I'm usually happy. But then I'm stretching myself thin, so I can't give my everything to everybody. I couldn't give the everything to this conversation if I had a meeting after this, or if I had a dinner to go to. I would be thinking about all those things. So instead of a mistake, it was more of like a learning opportunity, whatever, a learning possibility. So I think like that was the biggest thing. It was, I didn't waste that mistake because now I know in the future, cool, if I stretch myself thin, then that eventually is going to break and I'm not going to be able to do my best with everything. So I don't know if that like really answers it, but it more so of like I turned it into like a growth mindset type situation.
It's really learning to say no.
Yeah.
In the best way possible. Because if you're spread too thin, you're not going to be able to put your best foot forward.
Right.
Whether it comes to work, relationships. So yeah, it's definitely a lesson you've learned.
Yeah.
So, because at one point you were too thin.
Exactly.
Because otherwise you wouldn't know.
Yeah.
Enough's enough.
And like I said, like the mistake part of things, and the cliche of every loss is a win, or trying to turn every loss into a win, because like you learn. Like you either win or you learn. And I think like that is so cliche in like every aspect, right? In sports, a loss, cool, but what did you do right? Or what did you do differently that you could have changed for the next time? And I think that growth mindset helps you, push forward, and, you never waste it because you're always learning from it.
Good man. That's the show.
Love it.
Hope to have you on again.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, dude.
Thanks.
Absolutely.